to the 6, we be in the mix. With that rare candy paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids, money for the rent. Fuck a lockdown, baby, I can't do that shit. And I don't never vote, cause I'm fucking broke. And either way, I know the police ain't gon' leave me alone. On a plane by the visit Glen Rock, need crypto told me I should bring the Glock with me. So I packed up my piece and I'm sliding. Cause we might get caught up in a riot. Middle finger Trump, middle finger Biden. Fuck a left, fuck a right, is you riding? Know you love to see it, dudes rocking. Ain't no politics, baby, we just talking. From the birds to the bricks, we be in the mix. With that rare candy paint job on the whip, who you with?
Roman Polanski Part 2. This is all the boring stuff.
Yeah.
This part we've already covered all the good stuff. There's no need to listen. He lived happily ever after in America.
Yeah, much like Lars von Trier's masterpiece Nymphomaniac, we've saved the pedophilia segment for the second part.
Right, that's true. That's true. It's, I mean, if you guys, I mean, it's called an art film, guys. Learn about the structure.
Yeah.
So a couple things that, because we're just going to jump right into it. Again, I'm here with Cody Leduc, and we are covering Roman Polanski mainly through the source material of Roman by Polanski, the autobiography from 1984. Obviously, he's still alive, so there's going to be some stuff we're going to have to fill in. Basically from like Frantic on, Pirates on, basically.
Yeah.
So a couple things I learned in between this. I've been listening to Dave McGowan's Weird Scenes in the Canyon. I will do a formal episode on that, probably a Glenn Word episode, kind of monologue about my problems and things I found great about the book. Very interesting either way. Jack Nicholson in Chinatown. This is really interesting. I didn't know anything about Jack Nicholson, the man himself. He was born to kind of a showgirl, prostitute-y mom, I guess, never knew his dad. So he was raised by his grandparents and thought his mom was his sister growing up. Interesting.
I think I remember that part. I remember thinking his mom is his sister. But
so he had a mole. He had a not a full mole ray, because I don't think his grandpa is the father, but he did a half mole ray, basically. Where
not the half mole ray.
Yeah, not the half mole ray. Where so that's an interesting part of all that. Because then you couple the Angelica Houston with Jack Nicholson to then the later Polanski events. You're just like, wow. Yeah. It really, like, there really are some interesting connections, despite all that. Also, the Dakota apartments in which John Lennon was shot in front of by Mark David Chapman in 1980. That is the Rosemary's Baby satanic ritual apartment.
Yeah,
interesting. I mean, again, I'm not saying that means anything. It's just like, wow.
It's
of course.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah. It's like you open up a Snapple cap, look underneath it, and you're like, whoa, I didn't know that. Like, that's just like that. Yeah. That's how many caterpillars can fit in a cylinder of this size. Like, yeah, it's just very much that type of thing. So yeah, that's like the two main things. One other thing I was thinking about, because we're going to talk more about Sharon Tate, because we're going to talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So we're not done talking about the Tate LaBianca murders. Absolutely not. But I was just thinking about, Roman Polanski growing up in, German occupied Poland, and then Russian occupied Poland, communist Russian occupied Poland. He never saw free press, right? And then maybe his first real dose of free press was his movies getting panned. Or not panned, but there were definitely some controversial stuff written about some of his movies, and then people blaming him for his wife's death. So maybe I wonder if he was thinking God, free press does suck. Like, he was like, actually that part of the communist, because you wonder, that part of the communist regime probably seemed kind of fun to him, where he was like, oh, it's not just ripping me to shreds the whole time, because it's interesting if he's never seen it. You know what I mean? He has never really seen free press until he gets to London, maybe. That's 2 years before I think
he winds up at France at some point, but
and even then, I mean, it's not free like American press, where we can be free to just throw bullshit. You know what I mean? We can, and that's kind of I still would prefer that to be our flaw than to just have everything silenced, which we also do that too sometimes. So it's not we're not perfect in that regard. But I just laugh at a guy who's just seen nothing but fascism, obviously hates it, and he's just I can't stand this, and then just being like, oh, freedom of the press, this is great. Fuck, they were talking about how I ritually cursed my wife into being murdered. with the content and subject matter and my lifestyle, that happened. Just wow, free press, So we left off after the masterpiece that is Chinatown. Polanski has made 2 masterpieces at this point. Some people would say more, but 2 objective masterpieces that have him to be the hottest young director. He is young, but he's not
young for a director.
He's not as young as people think. He's probably 35, right? Or like 33 or something like that. Like when he does it. So he's, which again, still young, but like he's not this like whippersnapper 21-year-old because he spent so much of his life in Eastern Europe. So he a couple of years of just kind of having fun and just enjoying life and still trying to process the Sharon Tate murder. I'm sure that stayed with him for a long time. People would talk about being on set with him for Chinatown and just saying like, look, he was a happy guy. He was very comedic. Mia Farrow talks about him in Rosemary's Baby, even before the murder, is just like, he's always very committed to his work. He needed his work to feel sane. But, post the Tate murders, you would just see like just a little malaise come over him every once in a while. He would eventually snap out of it and do his job and be funny, also chaotic at times. So he steps away for a little bit. He's rich. I mean, the guy's rich. He's at parties and parties and parties. There's a lot of great Roman Polanski photography in the 70s from all points of his life. The post arrest, where he looks objectively his best, in my opinion. Like, he looks cool with his beard and everything. Looks incredible.
Sick ass look, man.
Yeah, he looks so tight. Yeah, and even though he's disheveled and half of a man, but he always looks cool in these things. And but he does a movie which I consider one of his best. However, I'd understand why people don't love this movie. In 1976, he picked up a novel. It's a European novel, and the Tenant. He picks it up.
Polish, I think, actually.
It's a Polish novel, and it's very Kafka-esque. I haven't read it. I want to. It's really hard to find. It's like not.
I remember looking on like thrift books or something.
Yeah, I don't. They don't have it on Kindle. They don't have any of that. I just imagine there's just not a good translation of it because you look at the subject matter, you're like, it's probably tough to like, if you have to really understand what's happening like in there to really convey what's happening. And it's a very weird kind of half paranormal film, very Kafka-esque, but I love it. I love it. There's a big thing that happens in it. It's a slow burn. It's kind of like a for some reason it's a sick movie, like where I feel like if you're sick, just throw it on, like, because it's very feverish, very strange. The premise is that Roman Polanski, the leading role of the film, and I think he's fantastic, by the way. He sticks out like a sore thumb, much like his next wife, Emmanuelle, would be, where you're like, not that good, but he knows what to do. It's weird. It's like he's very serviceable. He understands he's not that good. And
he knows the type of role that he could play, and he does that.
He can play confused. Now it takes place in it's France, right? Where it takes place, or where does it even take place? It's so strange.
He's like a Polish expatriate that's moved to France,
where everyone has an American accent, and Polanski has never cared about accents, by the way. Like, that's just one thing. Ninth Gate, he doesn't give a shit about accents. And it's kind of refreshing because you don't care when you watch it. You're like, oh wait, I don't give a shit about Daniel Day-Lewis's awesome accent in this. Like, actually, no one cares about that. Like,
don't give a fuck.
You'll see these Reddit-y conversations of people saying like, that's actually a Northern Ireland accent that he's. I don't care.
Kill yourself. Actually.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, this movie, he has a Polish. I'm just looking for an apartment. I will pay you $4,000. And the guy's like, a French landlord goes, fuck off, and it's just like, and it's just a guy, and then you have Shelley Winters, a total strange fever dream of a
Isabella Gianni,
who he claims in the book, he said, I had to make her look as ugly as possible. Failed. Still
F.
would. Yeah, still would. Absolutely
would even more, honestly.
Yeah, I know. She's gross because she's like nerdy and like repressed, and you're like, oh, nice.
And she jacks him off, and like,
she's horny as fucking it. Yeah. We're gonna get you right back to the episode, but I just wanted to let you guys know of a few other things we offer at Rare Candy Industries. We have a Substack with free and paid subscription options. Free subscribers get access to all written content. That includes Bob's Red Pill. That's the best thing going on the internet right now. Trust me. Paid subscribers get full access to our premium episode feed. And that's just every episode we don't necessarily want to share with the general public, if you know what I'm saying. Again, that's rarecandy.substack.com. We also have merch. That link's a little long for me to say right now, but go to the description, go to our merch store, and find a shirt that's right for you. We have Rare Candy shirts, Dr. Bronner soap label shirts, Rishi mushroom shirts, all types of stuff there. Check it out. There's got to be something for you. And lastly, check us out on social media. On Instagram, we're Rare Candy Pod, but on Twitter, we're at Rare Candy Pod 1. All right, enough of that. Let's get you back into the episode. So that's great. There's a couple of really awesome things that happen that are like very Polanski core in this. Obviously, the slow descent into psychosis that ends in autogynephilia. Yeah, it ends in hardcore on autogynephilia. I will say I've seen worse Avies on Twitter. More clockable Abbeys on Twitter. Let's just say that much.
There's a really great picture in Roman by Polanski of Roman dressed up as the woman looking through a lens.
And he looks like the fucking old lady from Rosemary's Baby. The cast. They have the same makeup. I guarantee you that was meant to be the case. Like it's the third one in the unofficial Apartment trilogy. Again, he doesn't honor that, but maybe the people. I think the people who were doing he compliments the women that were doing the hair and makeup and stuff. And he shot this movie in like 5 weeks, he said, which is really short. I think it's like 5 or 6 weeks for him. And he was like, literally nothing went wrong. And it looks like a movie where like a lot went wrong. You're like watching, you're like, oh, that was probably a nightmare. It was probably took forever, but it seems like it was a really pleasant experience for him.
He describes the like opening like crane shot he does as one of the like most complex things and most satisfying like shots he's put together.
It is really sick.
It's really sick,
yeah. There's a lot of if you're wired like me, if you're a paranoid person like me, because it's like you don't really know why the main character is supposed to be guilty. Like you like there's this guilt baked into him, but you're like, you didn't do anything wrong. I mean, you're coming up on an apartment where a woman killed herself, jumped out of the window, and you're just like sick. And it's still really expensive, by the way. He doesn't get a discount on it. It's like he wants $5,000 for it. I'm guessing to buy, for a rent that would be wild. That would be San Francisco now. But and then he's like, I'll give you 4,000 cash for it instead of 5,000 check. And he's like, what if I just got 5,000 cash, you little prick? And he's just like, oh, okay. And he's just getting like tormented the whole movie. Like people are just really mean to him. Everybody is like, it looks as though he's walking in late to a scene happening all the time. The character, it always just seems like something happened before he got there, and everyone's like, "Don't tell this guy what happened." Like it's just really Polanski paranoia is very much that where you're the last person to find out something. And he there's those scenes where he's just looking across and he just starts seeing weirder and weirder things. The woman who killed herself is probably a lesbian. There's allusions to her of basically saying, come on, she wasn't into men, this. There is and I would assume Isabella Adjani was her little like bisexual girlfriend. I just was my take on this. I've seen this movie about 6 or 7 times because I love it, but there's that really unnerving scene of the basically mummified woman screaming in the hospital. It's really scary. That's how the movie ends as well. But like, it's really scary. It goes on way too long, but like in a good way. It's not something I would edit. It's just like, okay, I'm done. Stop doing that. And then it goes away, and then it kind of calms down for a little bit. Then you see her getting undressed almost sexually out of the tape across the complex in through the window. He sees her. Very Kafka eye cover stuff happening. And it's, as somebody who has complained about his landlord on here and the one plant policy that we have here, very fascist. Very fascist. That happens here. I totally get the psychosis of the apartment. I have a feeling that's not exactly what it's about. But you make 3 movies about going crazy in an apartment. I have to think, even though his worst memory as an adult is something that happened in a big house that he had, I can imagine just the apartment of everybody hearing everything people are doing and stuff, and everybody having no privacy. But at the end of the day, you still meet everyone you meet. Just you're like, who the fuck are you? And I still have that in my complex. It's crazy. I'm like, who are you? It's it's crazy.
I think it's less about the apartment per
It
se.
is.
I think
Yeah.
I think it's just like single locations that he really likes.
Yeah.
And I think he's really good at. Like basically the only exception I can think of is Chinatown, which has like a bunch of locations.
Right.
But all of his like best movies are all taking place in like about one place. There's a few different sets here and there, but
until he found out about CGI, then he went crazy. Then he was like, "Oh no, we're going everywhere." Yeah, which is.
But even in like a kind of bad movie like Venus and Fur that is just in theater the whole time, it's
Death and the Maiden.
He directs the hell out of it. It's
Death and the Maiden. Yeah, it's a play. I mean, the guy loves the
Yeah.
theater. The guy loves the theater. He would take breaks to do the theater. I mean, he would. I think he ended up acting in Poland when he returned to Poland. Much later, which is awesome for him. I love him as that. I wish I could have seen that play. I wouldn't have understood a word, but it would have been cool. I don't understand opera either, but I'd go. And so it's. The Tenant is great. There's a scene where you start getting the weird dream logic, kind of like free use groping situation with Isabella Johnny, where she's obviously mortified that her friend just died, so he goes and they get a drink together at this little fun little cute little French cafe, and then they go see a movie, and he's like, let's go to the cinema, right? Polanski, always the comfort place was the cinema during the worst times of his life. They watch a Bruce Lee movie in the cinema, where Bruce Lee, obviously, as we said in part one, was Sharon Tate's martial arts teacher, and was kind of is a big part of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Still remain. I think when Roman was really paranoid that people were going to come for him, I think he did say he got some lessons from Bruce Lee as well. Remained kind of cool with him and stuff. I wish he could have worked him into a movie. I know he died. I mean, I know he died, but I wish he could have I know he wouldn't really fit in Chinatown, despite the name of the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, you're like, wait, why wouldn't he fit? Yeah, but
maybe like a background in like the last scene. Something.
Oh no, not even. He could have been the butler at the Mulray house. He's like, you can but Bruce Lee's not doing a movie where he doesn't kick somebody's ass. That's just wouldn't have happened. That would have been funny. But yeah, they're watching. It makes that scene, just knowing the history. It's like, and they're groping each other like pretty crazy. And then, but again, there's constant eyes on him the entire time. I feel like he never has a moment to himself in the movie. I think he's in every scene, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
If he's not, it's single digit amount of scenes that he's not in. And you see it perfectly. You see the kind of paranoia of the whole movie is this like repressed sexual young man that's can't really seem to do anything right. It's like trying to unlock something in your dream. It's very frustrating. Like my dreams, like these simple tasks that can't get done. And
not like young men of today,
really. Yeah, no, and luckily those are dreams. Luckily I accomplished everything in real life. Those are dreams. Yeah, of course I would never struggle with anything. But when you see the guy peeping over at him and Isabella Johnny necking and stuff, and he's just staring at him, it's like that's just what the whole movie is for the rest of it. And it's a wild ride. There's like Rosemary's Baby, there's injections and injured delirious people, but instead of Rosemary, it's Roman's Mary. It's Roma Polanski. She's gorgeous. Like I said, I've seen Brick here. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't pass. I wouldn't change the government ID, not so fast. But I was like,
still him, but like,
and he's like 5'3", so it's not like a hulking GameStop, Like he's like 5'3", and his woman voice is scary. When he puts on the wig in the store, the woman's expression is so funny. It makes me laugh so hard. That's the Polanski comedy that I like. It's like this absurdist. It's Kafka. I really would have loved his trial. I mean, Orson Welles did a perfect movie of the trial. It's so good. I just would have loved Polanski to do. I mean, his own. I haven't read The Castle, but I've heard The Castle is very good. I would have loved Polanski to do a Kafka, like even post exile, like 80s. 90s version. God, I would love that. And I guess it's not too late technically, but
still got time.
Yeah, he still got time. Clint Eastwood's 96 and just
I think Polanski's like 92 or something.
He's really old. He's really. He looks great though. I mean, like for he's walking around and stuff. He's You know those like you know those memes like when they make fun of white people like or like it's like a white person who's like 42 but was like problematic and they don't age well and people just go this is what like racism does to you. I'd be like, well, this guy's like 93 and he's walking around with unassisted with like perfect and his memory's pretty good.
Yeah.
And, stuff.
And he had kids at 76.
Yeah, he did.
Like
he did. Yeah, he did. He's got boys. Yeah, that's crazy. So
a boy and a girl, actually.
Yeah. But I love the Tenant very much. I tell a lot of people to watch it. It kind of gets lost in the Polanski canon a little bit, but it's pretty awesome. It's like it's tastefully boring in the middle, tastefully boring. Like there's a lot of weird parts, but it's very rewarding at the end. It makes everything worth it. And if you watch it a couple times, it's a complete kind of like Lost Highway, where it's just a big like circular Dante's Inferno, like hell, you know, where eventually he becomes the one, you know, I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. It's very it's circular hell, basically. It ends up with the same Bill Pullman, like, you know, so Dickie, whatever is dead. Like it's basically that. And it's his Lost Highway. That's what I'm going to say. It's great. You gave it 4.5. I think that's a great. It's not a perfect movie, but it's great. I do think again a step below Rosemary's Baby in Chinatown because what's better, honestly. But it's excellent. And from here on out, he has a lot of really, really good movies. Are they all successful? No, because we're going to talk about something that happened to him that makes him more infamous than the Tate LaBianca stuff. It's having two crazy things.
And actually,
like this.
The Tenant, when it came out, it's 1976. The trailer, I think, that was playing, and the poster, the tagline was "Nobody does it to you like Roman Polanski,"
which is true. Which is true. I mean, I spot the lie. I mean, nobody does. And I was just thinking about this because I was on the Perfume Nationalist last night. We were talking about Peter Bogdanovich, who made, in my opinion, another masterpiece, The Last Picture Show. It's so good, but it's like it has all of the. Like if you listen to Bogdanovich talk and then somebody tells you that he made a movie about like Texas kids in like the 70s and you're like, oh, this is gonna be so pretentious and lame. And it's not, but like with Polanski, it's funny, like he's definitely a pariah in this, but he's like cooler than all those guys. Like if you hear him talk, he's like 100, and that's his disarming effect, and that's why he's so confusing for people to talk about, is because you see interviews and he's like insanely honest. Like it's really crazy. Like how honest it's shocking.
I just watched Roman Polanski Odd Man Out today because I didn't suggest it for this because I just didn't think I'd have time. And also I watched it. There's not a whole lot added to it that you don't get from Wanted and Desired. But there is this thing at the end when he finally gets to the Zurich Film Festival that he was going to. The Odd Man Out, it's about him going to Zurich to this film festival to get a Lifetime Achievement Award. And then he gets arrested again and is about to be extradited. That's where this like Polanski petition thing comes from. And he was going to get extradited to the U.S. to stand trial. He eventually doesn't. Switzerland essentially lets him go. And at the very end, he said he goes up and like thanks everyone for the award, and he says, "I want to say thank you to the prison guards at the Zurich prison," and everyone starts laughing. And he's like, I'm not joking. Like they made my stay there really pleasant and made me not want to kill myself.
Must have been a nightmare being his lawyer. Because he just like he's like this like he's one of those guys like where I think he like straight up is just like what I did isn't wrong. Here's what I did. And you're just like, and if you're the lawyer, you're just like throwing a manila folder against the wall. It's like breaking the coffee machine in the office. Motherfucker. Like, just like, you idiot. And it's like, it's strange.
Like Kyle punching the wall. Like,
and last thing about the Tenant is it got panned a lot of bad reviews. That doesn't shock me with this movie.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I went and saw it in like the theaters in the 70s. I couldn't even, like, if you're just, this is the same year as Taxi Driver, you know what I mean? And like these movies, like you're just like, oh, that was cool, but I don't know what the hell is going on. It definitely helps when we're in such like apartment living style now and such like, you know, it just really social media too, eyes always on you and stuff. Like I think it really plays a little bit better now. And but somebody was saying that there was somebody was mad. This sounds like a feminist critic, but there was somebody that wrote a poor review of it saying that he substituted women out for like himself. And I'm just like, yeah, is that like, so yeah, still put a hot chick in there. Don't trip. Like, you know, like it's not, he would not do that. So yeah, like just trust the plan. And so Roman Polanski is set to do, I forget what movie he's set to do. Isn't it like a crime thriller or something? It ended up getting made by someone else in the 80s.
It was like I think it was like a Forsyth novel, actually. Like
yes, it was a Frederick Forsyth novel. Don't even fucking get me started. Yeah. Yeah, not reading that. Yeah. So wow. You want to talk about the most boring boomer slop of all time. Day of the Jackal is a great show, great movie. That book is the first part of the
cinematic universe.
Did you finish The Jackal?
I watched the first episode and then I got like sidetracked with this Roman Polanski stuff, and I'll go back to it.
I would say that is a very.
I think I'm going to finish White Lotus and then I'll get back.
That is a proper ranking of shows to be doing. But I would say it was the best show of 2024 without question. Though it was really good. So. Anyways, he's supposed to get. It's kind of a crime thriller. Definitely a. You can imagine the studios were happy for him to do it because the man who lost his wife to one of the worst crimes ever is making a crime, and it probably, it all intents and purposes,
from the twisted mind of China.
I bet you he would have. From the twisted mind. He brings. We all get a look at Cielo Drive. Just one of these like. He's supposed to do that. Gets in a little bit of a whoopsie daisy though, but it doesn't start at Samantha Geimer though. It doesn't. That is not his first rodeo, and I've marked out some pages that I would like to talk about from his biography, because I'm sorry, you can watch whatever you want on this whole Roman Polanski pedophilia stuff. There's no better person to hear it from than Roman Polanski. It's still some of the most shocking things I've ever read. It's so nonchalant. It's like he's whispering it to you. It's like he's like a guy at a bar that thinks he's whispering, but like everyone can hear him. You're just like, dude, it's like, why are you telling me this?
Yeah, Gunson even mentions this in Wanted and Desired while you're pulling it up. He says something like, Roman just seemed like the guy that was like, oh, this isn't like a thing that was a problem in my country. So like, I'm not sure why you guys are upset at me.
Yeah, he's just like, and I, to be fair, I did look up the age of consent in Poland in the 50s. Now, age of consent is it's a little bit different when you're in the 50s, and it's like that's the age of consent, but like we have a grace period or something, or like a little we round up or something. I don't know. Like you can tell like there was something to it, but also like, dog, it was never 13 or 14. Like you see the girl and you're like, she's really young looking too. Like So, anyways, how did we get here? Very interesting meetup that he has. Again, this is all from the horse's mouth. In 1984. You understand why this isn't published in America, and you have to go on Abe Books to buy a copy. Good luck, because I got 2, so I don't know how many are left. But he talks about meeting a German girl because he wants to start doing magazine. I don't think he's quite been hired for Vogue yet. Maybe he has, but all of a sudden these young girls, for whatever reason, right, want to start getting around him because he's linked to have a very prestigious French Vogue Christmas issue happening. So he goes to a German nightclub, and he has the timeline a bit different than the documentary does. I don't know if you've noticed. The documentary says that he did this Oktoberfest excursion post arrest. You know what I mean? If you watch that,
it's been a while since I've watched that documentary.
Yeah, but, they have it as it was post arrest. He was sent out on like work release to go work on. I think it might have been Tess, if I'm not mistaken, but I can't remember. Either way, it was a European film, like big budget film, and they didn't want to disrupt the studios too much and get lawsuits and all of these things. So they said he has it as though this is before the arrest. The smiling, the infamous picture of him smiling at the Oktoberfest thing like that. Okay. So he has it in here. So I don't know what the case is. It doesn't really matter that much, honestly. In the
there's some quibble. I flipped through Samantha Geimer's memoir. She takes some quibbles about some of the timeline.
Again, the timeline is not really that important. I mean, he doesn't really shy away from what actually happened, is what I'm saying. So this is about him meeting a person who would become a very famous actress. It's a bit long, but I think it's worth it, and you'll find it shocking as me, and just as nonchalant and as like a almost stand-up comedian routine that he's doing.
Yeah.
He says, one day a German gossip columnist invited me out on a double date with two girls he wanted me to meet. Both were young and in different ways strikingly beautiful. One of them was rather dowdily dressed. I asked her name. She said, my friends call me Nasty, she said. We've all been there. Her English was poor. My German non-existent. Doesn't feel like that was a problem. Very, very late that night, after a long round of discos, the four of us ended up in my suite. Leaving Nasty with the journalist, I took the other girl, a stunning blonde, to bed. By the time I surfaced, the journalist had gone. Journalists cannot hang, by the way. Nasty was half asleep in an armchair in the sitting room. Taking her by the hand, I led her back to the bedroom. This is the next, just a paragraph break. I didn't skip at all or anything. Yeah. We never repeated this threesome, though I saw a lot of both girls thereafter. I dated the blonde for several weeks, but it was Nasty who grew on me more and more. Her makeup and hairdo and clothes were all wrong. She was reserved and hard to fathom, a loner. One day, though, while sitting opposite her in a Munich beer garden and studying her face, I realized something. Nastasia Kinski, just says the name all of a sudden, looks were unique in my experience. If there was such thing as a star quality, she had it. Nastasia introduced me to her mother, who discussed her career with me. She had already appeared in a couple of undistinguished movies. Nastasia certainly had the looks needed for success on the screen, but the impression she gave in regard to most things, including her professional future, was one of cool indifference. She also didn't appreciate the importance of fluent English to an international film career. What an idiot. But
dumb bitch.
I know. I pronounced it essential that she go to drama school, but first she must tackle her English problem. I said that now, see, he like lulls you to sleep with like all of these things and then bombs you. It's really funny. Yeah. I said that now I was based in Paris. She could have the run of my London house. Her mother's response to this suggestion took me aback. I couldn't let her go on her own, she said. She's too young. That's when I first learned Nastasia's age. She was only 15. Bum, bum, bum. And then paragraph break. Nothing in between. I'm not skipping lines. We made love more than once during my 3 months in Munich. After you find out the age. No, it's like he's not like he has no ability to do PR. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like I don't want him to lie. This is all like stuff you shouldn't be doing. It's just crazy. It's like it's 1984. I guess he figures like France is never going to punish me for this, so I'll just write my autobiography. It's crazy. So he says, we made love more than once in my 3 months in Munich. Nastasia was a strange person. She preferred men to be aloof, hated them courting and running after her. Perfect for his 1980 movie, by the way. She was poised and self-reliant, wryly humorous and quietly observant, quick to spot the weakness in others, extraordinarily mature for her age. On the night we met, they should let me do the audiobook for Audible. fucking, come on, guys. Let's get this. Bezos has Dissolving Illusions on there. They'll let this on there. On the night we met, I thought her a couple years older than her friend, who was in fact 17. Bullshit. That's the first lie right there. You knew her ass was young. Yeah. You thought she was 20? Yeah. Nah, dude. Fuck off. We all saw her. And this is funny. Like, she looks young in Tess, which is like 3 years later.
Yeah, she's like 18 during it.
Yeah. So the whole thing, I remember when like we're gonna talk about Tess, but like the whole thing when Tess comes out is like, oh, I heard they had like a little thing, and she looks young in this movie, and he's just like, oh, I hit it like 3 years ago. like
get with the program. It's already happened.
He's like, she's hit the wall, actually.
Roman Polanski Groiper.
Yeah. You can do the Studio Ghibli. We need the Groiper edit now. So he's just like,
I'm gonna make a Twitter account now.
He just has empty egg cartons on set and stuff as a prank. Gio
Scotty would have gone hard in a Roman Polanski picture.
Dude, if this was 1975, she would be a superstar in a Polanski movie. So yeah, basically then he's offered the Vogue of France, which to me that means like not nothing. I obviously know that's a big deal, but Alfred Hitchcock, Salvador Dali, Fellini, Marlene Dietrich, like It's a prestigious thing.
Yeah.
Like it's a prestigious honor. And this guy likes to take pictures of chicks, no matter the age, of all ages.
Yeah.
And so
He does mention another pedophile photographer. Did you catch that?
No.
David Hamilton.
Oh, I don't know anything about David Hamilton.
Yeah,
What's
he's like known for taking these like kind of soft focus photos of like young girls.
One of those guys.
Yeah. He's like he was like a Lewis Carroll type of like like the Keith Carradine character in Pretty Baby. He was he's kind of like that kind of guy. He also directed some movies. I've seen one of them. It was called First Desires with Emmanuel Bayard. It's okay, pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
yeah.
That so you know, they bonded. They chilled. You know, shared.
They didn't really like hang out or anything. He just I think he had done this type of photo before, and he just mentioned him.
I see.
Like, oh, that's interesting.
So now we have the Samantha Geimer thing, which in the autobiography, all the names are changed.
Yeah.
So before I start reading some stuff from this, here's what I think the average person who did not live through the trial, because the trial's like pretty accurate. It's not, there's not that much. Like, he didn't get wrongfully persecuted. Like, I'm sorry.
No.
Like, it didn't. If they gave him 20 years, I wouldn't have batted an eye. Like, truly, because it's just like based off of what in the autobiography, like there's no based way to look at it or anything. It's just like it's weird. You know, it's strange, it's creepy, it's gross, it's disgusting. But if you didn't know anything about it and you're like a Zoomer who's just like, you hear the name Roman Polanski, you hear pedophile, you think like he was served this woman on a platter of sushi and he ate it on a plane on the ride to an island where laws don't exist. You know, like you think it's that, but it's way sleazier in an ecosystem where like anybody can do that. And it's really gross. And everybody, including the HBO documentary about this Wanted and Desire, like anybody, like halfway through the documentary, it's basically like, God damn, her mom is a fucking weirdo. You know what I mean? Like, why would you? Like, why was this ever even allowed at any point? It doesn't scapegoat anything Polanski did at all, at all, because he's still supposed to be smarter than that. Here's the thing: he's not, or you know, whatever, or just it's just not considered wrong to him. Like it's just. So as a parent, your job is to protect your child, you know? So people might listen to that and go, Glenn, come on. Like not every battle needs to be fought. I'm like, I'm not caping for the guy. I will tell you from his words in here. And again, it's his words, but it also comes out in that documentary too. And even Samantha Geimer's like, be nice to my mom. She like, obviously her mom's stupid, but she's like, please be nice to my mom. She's different, you know, like, and it was one of those classic, like, post Laurel Canyon like couples. It was a family of divorce, the Samantha Geimer family. She was dating a man who was an opportunistic guy because he wanted his like marijuana advocacy thing to be picked up.
This is one of the things that Geimer disputes of like I think she just merely disputes like the magazine of
so there was a couple reasons the parents wanted her, right? Like so her to be photographed by Roman Polanski because like, you know, the way Samantha Geimer like says it. And again, she's fast forward many years later, she's like having dinner with them. Like and stuff
there's a picture like they released a couple years ago.
Yeah, which is together. An all-timer. I mean, it's one of the greats. It's a jump scare. It's a jump scare. I'm not gonna lie.
It's up there with like the Trump picture from last year.
Crazy. It's crazy. It's just like
I love posting it to piss people off.
Yeah, no, because it is crazy. I think I don't remember how to say her last name. Emmanuel, his wife now, Senye. Yeah, she like interviewed her, like a formal interview and stuff. So like, whatever. There's some. She has Samantha Geimer's married.
Who he met when she was 18.
Yeah, and he absolutely didn't.
Of course.
Like, yeah, he absolutely didn't. So it's just like again. Here's the thing, like your parent is just like Samantha Geimer is like, well, who wouldn't, you know, love to have a modeling career and be like photographed by Roman Polanski? It's like, I guarantee you most parents back then would say no, or I have to be present and I get veto over literally any picture that's taken. This better be like a damn school picture, you know, like it, like really like books on your lap type thing. Like just it better be like that. Like if they're going to let it happen, like it takes a special breed of person to. Like I said, this is Roman's word, but it seems it seems like pretty accurate to what actually happened.
Yeah.
If you watch like the formal court stuff, you know,
Yeah,
like there's only, like you said, minor quibbles. Now, the mom was like a kind of like a TV, like here and there, a couple TV, kind of Rick Dalton-y, like almost like TV. She was on like a TV show.
Rick Dalton, really.
Yeah,
She,
really true.
Like
she never had,
she
yeah.
like nothing, like not to disparage her or anything. She,
No.
she got to LA and like when she was like 30, didn't really know what she was doing. She was just in the Odd Man Out biography too. She she didn't really know what she was doing, and she kind of skirts a lot of responsibility for what was going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, no, and she was like in shows, clearly like her, it seemed, according to Polanski, was like she was inviting me to take pictures of her daughter so that I would magically think the mom was hotter than her and be like, actually, hold the press. You're the girl. This is the girl. Mulholland Drive.
Yeah.
This is the girl. Like she's expecting that to happen. I don't necessarily think that's that far-fetched, honestly. I could kind of see that, even if the ultimate goal is the young girl to be photographed and the mom actually wanted that, there could have been a subconscious desire for a former actress. She's a very beautiful woman. You see her, like she's a beautiful woman. Like you see the pictures of her, the mom. Like you could see like maybe this, like, yeah, also I do stuff too. They talk about like switching outfits with each other. Very strange stuff happening. Yeah. Again, this is all from Roman himself. But again, when you read it, you're kind of like, God, I could totally see all this happening. That's so gross. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's gross from every angle. What his participation is, and the family, and all of this thing. And you realize how much of this isn't like chloroforming a girl and putting her in a van, you know, like this is, you know, it's a hot tub instead. But you know, she even mentions in, like, again, I was flipping through it, I didn't read everything, but she mentions that when like the rape stuff was coming out, she was like, it didn't really feel like rape to me, and like I didn't feel attacked. And I can't remember if this was in the memoir or if she said it somewhere else. I thought it was a little bit later, because I remember when that was happening. Maybe it's in the memoir, and maybe she said it in a subsequent interview, because she started making the rounds on like, I think, The View and like all of these like shows. She had a thing. She kind of like did a reverse Me Too during Me Too.
Yeah, she was like the one person that was like, like, I don't know, like an anti-Me Too, Me Too.
Like, the market's flooded now. I have to go the other way. Yeah,
and she even goes after like other like people coming out with their Me Too's. Like, where were you when I was being fucked?
Very strange. So that's what I mean. Like when you couple what she's doing later, again, I hate having to say this, I'm not making excuses for Polanski. It's just, when you couple like the later events with it, with what is said in the biography, I think it's very interesting. So let's go to some points that I have marked here. Let's see, where am I at? Oh, right here. Okay. The next day, a Sunday, I drove out to Jane's home at the far end of the valley, a longer drive than I'd expected. And I believe Jane is the mom in the situation. Mom, again, all different names, so it's tough to say. But the house was a small, nondescript, typically suburban, middle-income California house with an ill-kept lawn, a pool, and a 2-car garage. Jane kissed me in an overly demonstrative way so many American women have. I don't have that problem with American women, actually. Roman. But I was like, do girls come make out with you? Yeah. Maybe they do.
Weird flex, but okay.
Well, when women introduce themselves as nasty to you in a German nightclub, I think that might be the case. But I surprised her by trying to kiss the other cheek and met air. I explained I was used to France, where everyone kissed twice as a matter of form. She said I still used the same aftershave lotion. It was vetiver, I told her. It's like James Bond shit. Wondering why and how I would remember. Wondering how and why she would remember a thing like that. She showed me into the living room. A man was lounging in front of the TV set without really watching it. Over by the window stood a girl. This is Samantha. This is Sandra, Jane said. She told her to get a load of my aftershave. Isn't it great? This is so like fucking weird, man. It's so like Lolita. It really is. And the girl said, hi. She sniffed my cheek. It's all right. So anyways, they start talking like that. Your David Hamilton reference comes up here. Something he says he wants to be different than David Hamilton, which the lie detector test shows that that's not exactly the case. Maybe the focus was what he was talking about, soft focus.
Yeah.
So
they
maybe
were kind of soft focus too. So.
Exactly. After loading, so they decide that they're going to do a photo shoot. Right. This is going to be a photo shoot. This is going to be the initial one. Now there's going to be a change of location that comes into place. So this is for the first location. After loading the stuff into my rented Mercedes, Sandra and I drove up the hills, which began just behind the house. If it hadn't been for the clothes and the cameras, we could have easily walked. We parked and made our way up on foot up a narrow path through the scrub. It was steep and we slithered around a lot. Sandra with the clothes draped over her arm, I toting the cameras. It didn't take me long to realize that outside the house and away from Jane and Bob, Sandra was a completely different girl. Lively, chattering incessantly, a typical California teenager. She punctuated her talk with the word like. There's nothing wrong with that, Roman. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I hate having my mother around. Fucking shut up. Stop. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how we talk. Like I hate having my mother around when I'm being photographed because she says, like, do this, do that. Fuck. She told me she had
Clocked
a boyfriend.
Me, damn it.
Yeah, he got me good with that one. Yeah. She told me she had a boyfriend with a black belt in karate. Fuck, he's like, dude, I know Bruce Lee. Yeah, even though he's probably dead by that point. But wanting her to relax, I went on chattering as I started taking close-ups of her. At this stage, I noticed a bruise, or rather, a love bite on her neck. I asked if it was the result of taking karate lessons from her boyfriend. Fucking God, this is so gross. She laughed. It was Chuck. All right. It's Chuck. Even Chuck has a pseudonym. It's not like you can't even use that guy's name. Which is funny because there's some pending like libel that is happening here, and he's still letting it fly.
Yeah.
She said, but it wasn't.
He doesn't give a fuck, dude.
So he's basically saying this girl's a whore, basically, in the thing. He's like, this girl is a whore. I mean, but like as the reader, you're going, dude, she's a whore for like high school like boys, probably.
Yeah.
She's like 13 and has sex with like 16-year-old boys. Again,
yeah,
like you're fucking 30 something. Like he's like he's talking to you as though like you agree with him. Like he's like, can you believe this bitch? You know, like
and there were like old like clips of him like I just said like there. It destroyed me.
California is the American accent, by the way. People know that. No, and it truly is because anytime you see a British person come over and if it's not directly regional that they need to be doing in a movie, they pick my voice, kind of.
Yeah,
like it's very strange. So
and he's like saying like everyone likes young girls, right? Like, and why is everyone going after me? And he's actually kind of flustered in this.
Yeah, no, he thinks it's just a normal day in the life. Like God, can you believe it? Imagine if that happened to you. It's like, well, it wouldn't, Roman. Like, I just don't do stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. So it's just really it's so surreal reading this part of the book. Again, I have a few more smaller parts marked. This is the Jack Nicholson stepdad thing that I think is funny to share. Returning to LA on February 26th after an interval of 10 days, I called Jane's number. I felt a little awkward on two counts. I knew from Ibrahim Musa that Jane had gone to see him on my recommendation, but that he declined to represent her. So she was trying to get in with an agent and stuff, like the same agent to get back into movies or TV or something. As for Bob, which is the stepdad, Jack had accepted his copies of Marijuana Monthly, which is a periodical he was trying to get to take off, maybe to compete with High Times or something. Yeah. But was quite uninterested in granting him an interview. So it's like that part I completely believe, that the parents thought that this was going to be just like literally like a Price is Right. And for the whole family, you all get something. And like, I don't think they were sacrificing their daughter, but I think they were willing to like look the other way a little bit on some things. Like, I don't think they fully anticipated what those things they were going to look away from were, but I think they were going to be like, oh, a few gross, like a guy seeing like my daughter like half naked or something is not. Yeah. Like I do have a feeling that happened. Like, I don't know. Again, it's all conjecture. It's all speculation. Samantha Geimer, the way she talks about it later, you're kind of like, I think that might actually be true. Like, it's just, again, check it all out, guys. Like, view for yourself before you think I'm like explicitly defending a pedophilia stuff. But so yeah, before we left, Sandra asked about the pictures I'd taken of her. I said that I'd show them to her later in the car. She mentioned that her girlfriend was a model who'd done some TV commercials. Her tone betrayed a mixture of envy and admiration. I told her we were on the way to Jacqueline Bissette's house, that her place would make an ideal setting for our pictures. God. Sandra didn't seem to care where we were going. She displayed the studied indifference typical of a teenager trying to be cool. It's like, yeah, that's what girls do. They go into cars with guys. That's why you need to not be doing that. Like, it's just so insane. Like, it's just like the tone of it is still the most shocking. I was expecting a very legal speak part of the book.
Yeah, so was I. Like,
and it's also the last like 50 pages of the book, or no, it's not the last 50, but it's like you're kind of like, is he gonna get to that? And then you're, yeah, boy, does he ever. The sun had almost dipped behind the trees by the time we reached Mulholland Drive. There was a lot of wind, which I liked, but the shadows were lengthening. I would have to make it snappy. Victor Dre, who lived with Jackie, was in the house with two men friends. I introduced Sandra and asked where she could change. Jackie, who'd been out shopping, arrived home laden with parcels. She went in the kitchen and opened a bottle of white wine, but Sandra refused a glass. People just offer kids wine, and it's just like random girls, like other women. Yeah, and and it's like
1970s, man.
Guys, if you don't know who Jacqueline Bisset is, like Google her too, because it's like literally one of the hottest chicks of the 70s. Like, it's just it's ridiculous. It's just, this whole thing is so surreal. It's crazy. Again, we're like, I don't see the reason for him to lie about this either, and like, he doesn't change Jacqueline Bisset's name, which is really funny. Like, it's like oh, by the way, Jacqueline Bisset, like, you're in my pedophilia part of my book. You know, so it's like, the light was perfect, but it wouldn't last long. Victor and his friends watched us from inside the house. Basically, he comes to a conclusion that he doesn't like the lighting and the wind and all of these things for this house, so he's like, my boy Jack Nicholson, now there's some lighting. His house. Let's go to his house. Best lighting ever. To me, I'm kind of like, I don't think that part. I think Roman's fibbing a bit on that one. Basically, he's like, I could get fucking active at Jack's house. He's gone. And I to me, that's where I think his brain's going.
Likely, but I could also buy him being such a lighting guy that
true.
It's not.
No, it's true.
That could literally be what happened.
What's stopping him from fucking her at Jacqueline Bissette's house? That's probably the
she just offered her wine. Like,
I know. That's the sad part. That's the sad part. Is you're like, damn. Actually, he probably would have just done it there.
Jackie might just join in.
So he says, so Roman Polanski drives up to Jack Nicholson's house or calls Jack Nicholson's house, and there's a neighbor named Helena there, and Jack and Marlon Brando share like a kind of a gated community situation happening here, which
I love how he just name drops Marlon Brando out of nowhere.
Hey, Marlon Brando's got some crazier shit happening in his house, to be honest. Like, his two kids, insane. Like the stuff that was I hate Marlon Brando. Not he's like, okay, I think he's fine as an actor. It's just like, he legitimately, I watched a documentary on him, and usually I'm like team like take the guy's side a lot of times. Like, oh, he gets a lot of shit. I couldn't stand talking to him for like 2 minutes, probably. I found him to be the most like full of shit, like full of himself, sued guy like ever. So anyways, but he's part of this whole thing. Apparently not available in this situation, but they all had houses inside there, so he figured that this could be a place where I could find a good spot to take pictures. It's very much like I had to return some videotapes. I explained the situation to Helena. Could I use Jack's place while the light was still good? She said to come right over. I just like picture your mom, right? Like your mom, my mom, anybody's mom who's like, I'm assuming a lot of you guys have good moms out there. If you have a bad mom, just ignore this. But like, if it's a good mom where you're just like, not only letting your daughter do it, but being the person who could be like, yeah, come over to my house and take pictures of that little girl. You know, like it's strange, very strange. But again, Mulholland Drive, Laurel Canyon, very strange. The gate to the compound was just across Mulholland. Helena answered the intercom and let me in, telling me to make sure the gate closed properly. There was a nut who hung around the place. Yeah, I'll say. He had gotten in once and tried to strangle Marlon Brando's secretary. Don't leave. Why do these people keep leaving their doors unlocked in Laurel Canyon when there's like Manson people coming? or Mulholland Drive, whatever. It's all kind of somewhat close.
Yeah.
I parked the car outside Jack's house. Helena opened the door leading from the garage to the kitchen, and 3 of us went inside. I introduced Sandra, who wandered off on tour of the house with one of Jack's dogs frisking at her heels. I asked where Angelica Houston, Jack's girlfriend, was. Helena said she was out but wouldn't be long. And then all of a sudden the Jack Bauer 24 clock starts ticking in Roman Polanski's head, I'm sure. And then so basically all this happens. Offered wine once again by the person. Now I will not read what happens, but I'll tell you right now, guys, it's all the stuff you think.
It happens.
It's the stuff that you think he would avoid. He says all the stuff. Penetration, sodomy, everything.
Yeah.
Everything happens. He's guilty. Like it's a guilty of the crime. Like I'm not trying to make light of it, but when you read somebody I've never seen somebody so matter of fact discuss what happened. Like, to be honest, it's only 7 years old by the time he's writing this.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Which if it was 13 years old, but anyways, he 7's too soon, Roman. Yeah, he's just like, it's crazy, man. Like, I don't know what to say. It's kind of this thing where it's this point where you're supposed to just give up on his movies. And the court case isn't that interesting to me. There's a couple things, like if you're into like legalese and all these things, like there's definitely some stuff. There was a judge who was kind of a celebrity judge, not Rittenhouse. Not Rittenhouse. I was gonna say Rittenhouse, but it was a written brand, and he
did not cross state lines. Actually,
no, he was just like kind of a celebrity, loved being like a famous judge, wanted all the celebrity cases, but he was also a hard judge too. And if you didn't take a deal, he was pretty severe in his punishment. So a lot of people were like, this is perfect because Roman just doesn't take deals. Like, he didn't. They go in and they Roman pleads innocent to basically all the crimes that he admits to in here. He pleads innocent to them. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, it's such a mind fuck. And he's like, they'll never catch me. Like, this is just, they can't know. They have her panties, which have evidence. And then the lawyer's like, dude, you gotta take some sort of deal. Like, it's all bad. So Roman's like, cool. And they say, all right, we're gonna file you in as like mentally unstable, mentally insane, and you're gonna go to Chino jail, prison, and be for 90 days, get psychiatric evaluation, and then we'll decide what happens to you. And he's like, all right, whatever. Basically that's gonna count as time served. A bunch of stuff about like how that crime is not what you think it. I mean, I don't know. That stuff to me, I'm always just like, it's gross and disgusting. Though I wouldn't have been mad if he was locked away for 20 to 25 years for that shit. Like, it's pretty bad, unthinkable even. And but that's not what ends up happening.
From the 5 to the 6, we be in the mix with that red kidney paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids, money for the rent. Fuck a lockdown, baby, can't do shit.
Roman has some incredible jail stories that are really. It's like Woody Allen's Take the Money and Run. I mean, not Woody Allen. That's pretty funny. But like, Woody Allen has a really funny prison comedy called Take the Money and Run. It's from the 60s. Have you ever seen that?
I have not. That's it's
good.
One of the ones I haven't seen.
It's really good. It's one of my dad's favorite movies. It's funny. My mom just very much like obviously hates Woody Allen for the reasons people hate Woody Allen. But my dad just cranks on the movies all the time. Like at the house, he's like, I want to watch Annie Hall. He's like, I want to watch Annie Hall. He's like, I know what he did. He's just like, yeah. He's like me, where he's like, I'm still gonna. If you give him an opportunity to make movies, I'm going to watch them. So either lock him up, or I'm watching the movies, like the new subsequent films. And so, my dad will still put on Manhattan.
I'm mostly in the Woody innocent camp, but I
don't know enough about it.
It's also kind of a like, I wasn't really there, so I can't really say one way or the other.
Pharaoh's very weird. Like me and Pharaoh's very strange. I haven't delved into it yet. I watched that HBO documentary, which everybody like panned, was like, that's not what happened. I watched it. It is gross. Like it is gross. Like
Mm.
just still even the stuff that like people say. But yeah, it's just there's a lot of like legal technicality stuff that I'm always just like I kind of just look back and go like that's gross, you know. So I don't know enough about the Woody Allen thing, but with Polanski stuff, yeah, it just reminds me of Take the Money and Run. It's a very like prison comedy. He has like people that like respect him, and then there'll be people who be like, "Hey man, like can you autograph this picture for my daughter?" And it's like clearly they're just selling it, Roman. Like clearly it's not for the daughter. Like like if anybody knows anything about like jail, it's like they're just trying to like get some money, send it outside. Somebody sells the money and then puts it on their books on the inside. It's like that's just a classic thing. But he does it. I mean, it's harmless, right? Just sign the guy's picture. And then it's obviously a great story for these guys. Oh, I was locked up with Roman Polanski, man, it's crazy. And but he seemed like that's the thing about Polanski is like deep down you can talk about the stuff he did as like abhorrent, which it absolutely is, but you know damn well if you like met him and were just chilling with him, you'd have a great time.
Yeah,
like that's the thing, and nobody
he's
wants
like
to admit it.
the
Nobody
coolest new Hollywood guy.
Yeah, nobody wants to admit it, but it's like you hear him, you're just like motherfucker, man. Like you're just like it'd be one of those guys where like you'd have like a 2-hour conversation, like stumble drunk out of a bar. It would be like a play almost, where guys like conversation, you know, stuff that you stumble out. You're talking about cool novels, cool movies, and like just crazy stories, and then all of a sudden you stumble out, and then he like slips up and says like the whole story of what happened. Like,
or it's like you're like, and what was your name again? He's like Roman, and then the Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah. All of a sudden your double vision corrects, and you're like, oh fuck. But yeah, it's just like that's like the paradox of Polanski, and that's why everybody has a tough time with him. He's kind of in this like don't talk about him zone at all, where like his movies exist. They all, for the most part, except for some of the later films, which I'd imagine probably just aren't that good. But so for a lot of the later, his Rotten Tomato meter isn't really affected that much. Like most stuff has an 80 and higher. It's people are objective about his films. They're great, game changing, and we're going to talk about some more here in a sec. But it's just like the thing about it is that you read this autobiography, you're not going to love what he did, and you're not going to say Roman's innocent, but you're going to be like, damn, like I kind of wish that sounds kind of fun what he was doing right there, like just like a party, like a random like event. And there's pictures everywhere of people just horsing with him. He's sword fighting with Mia Farrow with like fake little swords. He's like just doing. He's like really fun to be around. And I mean, by all intents and purposes, after post exile, he had no trouble getting actors to be in his films. Now there's a lot of people that'll go Holly weird, satanic pedo, elite. No, there's a blacklist. Trust me, like there's a blacklist, and if he wasn't very good at making films, people wouldn't be in there. Like that's my problem with a lot of the paranoid Hollywood people, is they kind of like downplay people's talent to fit their conspiracy theory sometimes. And I'm like, no, your conspiracy theory needs to withstand that guy's really good though. Like that guy makes really good stuff. Now what do you have to tell me about him? And the only way to actually talk about him is this man is a filthy pedophile freak that makes amazing movies and could probably charm his way into any situation. Because again, pretty tough to be a successful pedophile if you don't. I mean, really, like it's tough. I don't think Jared from Subway had game. Like personally, I just
no,
I don't think he did.
He's from my neck of the woods too.
Man, well, you know what they say about guys from Boop, but so
he's from Indiana, is what I meant.
Yeah. Michael Jackson's from Indiana too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, he's
further up north. Oh, I thought you were gonna say he's innocent, because I don't think he is.
No.
I
don't know enough about it beyond like Jack's.
It's a vibe test for me. I'm like, that guy. Yeah,
like
you're like, come on, really. But that's the thing. Like, it doesn't. I'm not gonna stop playing Michael Jackson albums.
Oh yeah. But in fact, your one quote on that, like, I think it must have been like the Black Sabbath episode of like, Michael Jackson was clearly a pedophile, and I own all of his albums. So that's it.
I do. No, I mean, it's, to be honest, there's this human thing to be like, when you find out someone's like either a murderer, rapist, pedophile, anything, you're kind of like, what kind of movies did he make? You know,
check the IMDb.
Yeah, let's see what's
Victor
free on
Salva?
Prime.
Straight to jail.
Oh, it's free on Prime. That's free on Prime. Sweet. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I didn't what's his face? Who's the guy, the Guardians of the Galaxy guy? I don't think that guy's good.
James Gunn?
Yeah. No. The guy, no. What is his name? Brian Singer.
Brian Singer.
Brian Singer.
I like a few of them.
No, but what I mean is, are you gonna go like, like send them to lock them up. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, just like, like it's just funny. It's just like, it's funny to me. Like everybody has that sick obsession. Like, that's why when rappers get murdered, people go listen to their music. Like when like it gets the bump, it's the spike. It's the same part of people's brain. And I'm tired of admitting that that's not there for
it's for kind of liberating with Polanski because like, unlike, like stuff like Woody Allen, where it's like, well, I wasn't there. And I'm fairly firmly in the camp that he was innocent of the Dylan stuff. There's other stuff that he did.
Yeah, there's just a lot of things you have to parse through. Yeah, that's my thing, and I haven't done it. Yeah.
And with Roman, it's like, yeah, he did it. He admitted to it. He like writes it all out in like kind of stunning prose in his autobiography. And his movies still are sick. And perhaps even more so.
yeah, I know. No, no, exactly, because it's like you want to know what this creep is up to. Yeah, you want to know, like you want to know, and so that's that. I don't have much more to say about it. Like it's kind of just that that's what happened. It happened. There's not a conspiracy with it, like either. It's just like this happened. Yeah,
I understand the perspective of the Wanted and Desired documentary of how he was like mistreated in the legal system, and like that makes sense, and that was unjust, and even like Gunson, the DA who was prosecuting him, agrees.
And it was, and the judge should have just never let him go anywhere. If you're that hard of a judge, like why would you let him leave the country? Because he does. He gets out. So now their timeline, they think that Oktoberfest thing happened in between, or maybe it did. I mean, again, it doesn't change really anything for me. So if that happens, there's an infamous picture of him, which Polanski goes like, it wasn't that big of a party. They just, the lighting and the photography says that it was. No, dude, you were horsing hard in Germany. It's okay. Like, whatever. Like, what are you supposed to do? Fucking cry? Like, I don't know. like, go have a beer. Fuck. I don't know. It's funny to me, but that was a big probably. I think it ended up in some big publication, and everybody, and the judge was like, you embarrassed me, right? Like, I'm a celebrity judge who's very much a victim, and suffered from and gained from his own vanity and all of these things, high profile cases. So he was embarrassed publicly. He was like, get his fucking ass back here. And then they lock him up. He only does 42 days because it's assumed he's innocent, and then see you later. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Fresh Prince of Paris.
I was talking more about all the stuff of like where they were going to change his sentence and like all the, like weird.
I still don't understand what that is though. Like I was like, okay,
like, sure,
no, because I'm not like I'm not for or against what happened. I just was like, I don't know. I literally don't understand what the technicality is.
It's
like I'm not a lawyer. Everyone on Twitter is, so I'm always just like, oh, you guys understand law.
I think there's like a certain part of me that, or like a past life or an alternate universe version of me that became a defense attorney or something. So I just like find this stuff fascinating, and I don't really know why. But
your goatee would go fucking hard in the courtroom.
Hell yeah.
It really would. I think if you guys aren't watching the video on YouTube right now, Cody has a cool goatee that will come in very much in play later in this episode.
I had the kind of like prison beard thing in the first one, and now
I mean, hey, get you a man that could do both, ladies. If you've loved hearing Cody talk about Roman Polanski,
check out me talking about George Lucas, something more wholesome.
Michel Houellebecq. There's many. This man knows his media. So anyway, he's a director. He's directed a YouTube short. Ladies, come on. So the anyways, where he flies off. See you later. I think I get the idea that everyone hoped that happened. That he just was like, that's France's problem, and France is like, what's the problem? But
you mean last Thursday?
I come right up to Monsieur Polanski. Like, please go.
Until they turned on him.
13. Oh, that is much too old. Yeah, but they're like, so they roll him right in, where he gets to work on a very big passion project. He gets to adapt his wife's favorite novel, Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. It's a great book. I read it in high school. One of the few books I actually did read in high school. Everyone lies about what they read in high school. I actually read Tess of the D'Urbervilles in high school. very good. I had a feminist teacher. It's very feministy, but feminists can make good stuff. Like this psyop of like that, like get feminism out of it. It's like, no, feminists need to do better things. Like
they need to stop being shitty. Like they used to be good.
Rosemary's Baby could be considered feminist art. Like you could make a case for it. I think it's more than that, but there's elements of it. It's just like we have this like I've heard Margaret Atwood, who made Handmaid's Tale. Like I've heard her books are good. Like I've heard they're good. It's just I
read part of it.
For the most part. Like for the most part, like these Amazon Prime adaptations of these things, like they're really banal, bland, and heavy-handed. And but it's a great book. It's got the humor, and the humor translated in there. This is a gem by Roman Polanski. Tess of the D'Urbervilles. I have it in the tier. It's in the. I don't know the Zoomers how they do S tier. I don't understand what that means.
It would be S tier. Yeah.
S tier is
top one.
We'll see. I think it's in the Tenant. I have Rosemary's Baby.
I think it's his third masterpiece.
Okay, interesting, because I think he has one film that's better than this that comes a little bit later. So, anyways, he either way, it's fantastic, must watch. 3 hours, but it's quick. It's Barry Lyndon for girls. People, it is, and that is not dismissing it. I'm a big fan of Barry Lyndon. Barry Lyndon is kind of a secret like male fantasy, male fear thing. The duality of that, and how you kind of enjoy getting yourself into both situations. First half of Barry Lyndon is Ryan O'Neill's Barry. I forget what his real name is, or I forget what the character's real name is at the first. He gets out of every situation, and it's really just his own luck. He can do no wrong, and then the second half of the movie, everything goes wrong. Everything goes and it's a period piece. It's beautiful. It looks great, and this is got a beautiful young lady named Nastasia Kinski in it. She's young in it, but if you watch this movie with a woman, this is how you know you're dealing with like one of those chicks, because they watch it and their brain just like locks. Like they look and they're just like they start getting nervous when they look at her, and it's just like, whoa, like this is crazy. And I get it.
He wasn't kidding about that star power thing that he was talking about with her.
And like, guess what? Cy and I were in honors English in 2006 watching this movie in class, and we were just goo goo gaga over this chick. And look, she's underage. So were we. So I was like, she was younger. She was born in 1961. This thing was filmed for like a year in she was right on the cusp. Yeah, either way. But I'm saying we were 16, so I was just like, we were like, 17, 18. Yeah, and like our feminist teacher's like, that's not what it's about. And we're just like, it kind of is.
Disagree.
We're just, I mean,
but
again, like she has that like oil painting, like just insane look to her where you're like, and she has a previous relationship with Polanski as people nowadays would call it grooming and stuff, but it was definitely a pedophilic relationship that they had, where it seemed like obviously more than once, as he says in the book. But if you know anything about Klaus Kinski, rough. It's like a series of unfortunate events, like where you're just like, oh good, I finally got away from Count Olaf, like my dad Count Olaf, and then you're like, I'm gonna go with this cool director. He wants it to
another fan.
Damn. But again, she was an opportunistic girl. She was like, I know exactly what my calling card is, and I am going to strike while the iron's hot. She clearly knew what she wanted and knew exactly who to talk to get it. And she talks about later she would have a kid by Quincy Jones, and she was famous and stuff, like, so she which Quincy Jones impregnated every like hot white model like of all time. So Peggy Lipton and Nastasia Kinski, that's not a bad 1-2 punch there. And so he was, the film is great though. The cinematographer dies halfway through the thing, which I don't know, you would be a better look at this. I can't tell that happened. Like I don't
they would have just something like that happens. They're just going to keep up with the same style and not try to do it different halfway through, because they would just have to reshoot the movie at that point.
Yeah, but it was a sad story how the guy died, because it was his favorite book of all time. His name escapes me, but he was
I'll
like
have to look it up.
50s or 60s. He was kind of not too terribly old, and he
Yeah.
was like, oh, I would love this. Kind of poetic in a sense because it is his favorite, and you like die on set like doing your passion.
Thing you
like,
love,
yeah, like it is like partly kind of cool, like but
Yeah.
like also the way he dies is like really annoying. He's like complaining about indigestion. Because this goes on for they became really good friends. Everybody became like a community. This took a year because Roman wanted natural seasons, season changes, waiting for it to get dark for the dark. Like just I think only one time he really had to. I think it was the greenhouse scene where the rain's coming in. Like he had to make that look sunny. That was really the only time he had to really play with nature. I think in this film.
This is the first time he really goes full diva for it, and it kind of works.
Well, he's like, I'm not going back to America anytime soon. I got nothing time over here. Like I got nothing but time. The film wraps by taking I think Coppola has a hand at the end of it, or the editing process. I think they wanted
Zoetrope is going to distribute it in America.
That's right.
And he comes back and has some ideas for re-editing the movie so it's not 3 hours. And apparently his version is just it doesn't really make sense. It's like a late period Coppola movie.
Well, that and like there's already like you can tell some concessions made. Like it's kind of not clear that that's her baby until she like whips her titty out to breastfeed it, and you're like, whoa. Which
even at that point, I was like, is that her baby?
Well, because my wife was like, how is she producing milk? She goes, oh, she was like, that's her kid. I was like,
I had to like Google it. I was like, is this like
and she was raped by a dandy Frenchman, because the concept of Tess of the D'Urbervilles, again, this is why this is Barry Lyndon for girls, because there is like a little female fantasy element of just constantly being pursued, being a lower class woman who finds out she has some high status stuff. She's secretly a D'Urberville honor, just aristocratic France family, and she goes and meets her cousin. I think it's Thomas D'Urberville. I can't remember who it is. It's one of the guys, and he's just like, oh yeah, shack up here. It's sick. My mom and the mom is like insane, the matriarch of the family, and she's like batshit insane with like farm animals in the house, and she doesn't like the guy at first which is very good casting by Polanski, because Polanski then says she never liked being pursued by guys. She liked when guys were aloof and ignored her, and that tends to be kind of the Tess character as well. But Tess goes through, in the first half of the movie, she's raped by this man and defiled in a sense. She's pregnant and has a child out of wedlock. The child dies. It's assumed that that was a punishment by God. They kind of, you get the idea, they let the child die. Like, I haven't read the novel in a while, but I think it's discussed in there more at length.
I've never read it.
It's good. It's very good. I probably
should.
That
priest that she's trying to have the baby have a Christian burial, and like he says nah, and
it's really sad, and that part's really sad. And it's funny how like Nastasia Kinski, because she's definitely not a bad actress, but she is struggling with her English here, and I feel like a lot of it is like, but she doesn't have to do a lot. It's like, can you be sad? You know, and she can, and it's heartbreaking because like, when you watch her get sad in this, and her German accent pops through, doesn't matter. Polanski doesn't
I didn't even notice it.
It does from time to time, but it doesn't matter. Like, it's just Polanski. Again, he has like American old sitcom men playing in the Tenant, like in France. Like, it's just, it doesn't matter. So he's and then everybody else is Irish or something in the movie. In Tess, it's just like, I thought it was France. I don't like, who doesn't matter. In the second half of the movie, she kind of disappears and goes and works on a farm. Like a very, I don't know what this was, like Quaker ass, like, I don't know what, I think they might be Protestant. I don't know what, I couldn't tell what that was, but it was very, very like puritanical, like farm. And she kind of has the hots for this young man, the son, the kind of heir apparent of the family. They have a very nice plot of land, but she's got the hots for him. And there's that really great scene of the women in their Sunday best not wanting to walk along a puddle, and he just walks right in it and carries them all. Doesn't really care about the kind of busted, like, 4.5s, but he does. He helps them, because that's a classic move. You got to help the ugly friend. You help the ugly friend. The hot one is like, that's sweet. So then he saves her for last, picks her up. they meet eye to eye. It's very, very well, and every scene is just gorgeous, oil painting gorgeous.
Every frame and painting, you know.
Yeah, very Barry Lyndon. I mean, it's very Barry Lyndon. It's just like it's wonderful. Not quite as good of a movie, but only by a fraction, in my opinion. And it really culminates in her being punished for being a woman throughout the movie. And there, to be said, we laugh a lot about feminism right now, but I don't think she should have been punished for anything that happened in that film, except killing the guy. But you get why she killed him. But you get why she killed him.
So it's a mitigating factor in sentencing.
So what happens with Tess is that it's found out that there's that really great scene of she finally marries this new Puritan man. And he talks about how she's like, tell me your biggest secret. And it's on their wedding night, which don't ever do this, guys, by the way. Take that to your grave. Seriously. Like, it's not worth it, especially if it involves another woman. Just don't say anything. It's fine. So he says, I was on a mission or something in Brazil or whatever. And I had relations with a woman. She goes, oh, thank God. This is going to make mine sound like nothing. And she's like, oh, I was, basically raped, or, a man forced himself upon me and I had a child out of wedlock. And he's like, pardon moi? Like, I just, and he's poking the fire. I love when he's just poking the fireplace and they have all that beautiful food that nice old lady made for them. And it just and it just goes to waste. My wife hates when that happens in movies so much. She's like, oh my God, that pretty food that they all made, like, and then nobody's gonna eat it, and that poor old lady, like, that slaved all day in that really nice little, like,
probably
house.
Not real food.
It's probably not, but you figure, like, maybe that did happen at times, like, where people just like, no, I will not be dining with you this evening, and it's like, fuck, dude. Which again, staff should be able to get active on that food, I would hope. You might as well, right?
Did you see, like, there's the scene where she, like, tries to give him the letter, and he comes out, he doesn't get it, and it goes into his room, and you see a copy of Marx's Capital.
No, I didn't see see Das Kapital, dude. Oh God,
it's
Tess. All right, Tess did nothing wrong. All right. Yeah,
I was like, oh fuck this guy.
Team Tess. I'm gonna put on a pussy hat right now, dude. Team Tess. Yeah. That is that's basically it. Reading Das Kapital or just is a pussy hat. But no thanks. I read the manifesto. I don't like my job either. Whatever. So anyways, I'm missing. So he ends up. I didn't see that, but she had tried to tell him before. She tried to leave a note, and he was acting nice to her the next day. This is before they were married. She kept being standoffish with him because she's like, you're gonna find this out about me, and I don't want that. There was a note. She leaves a note, but it's curiously, it never got underneath the door. It went underneath the carpet, and it was still there. So she's still, the paranoia, the dread, the Polanski paranoia and dread comes back there, and it does a really good job conveying that. And so eventually, after that man is done with her, which after a while he wants her back, but too late. She goes back and has the worst hairstyle of all time. I don't know what's going on there. I've never seen that one before, but when she's living on that like French Gone with the Wind plantation house with the guy, she looks like shit in that scene. I mean, still would, but to scale, not relatively speaking, it's not the best fit and look
for sure.
Yeah, it's not great, but there's that great scene of when the guy's like, we're gonna have lunch with son, and she's just like, I fucking hate my life so much, like, and he's like, and fix your fucking attitude, like, and then all of a sudden you just see the maid just see blood dripping from the ceiling.
Yeah, my God,
so good. And
I had to rewind because I was like, did I miss something?
No, that's the thing. Like, maybe that got cut out, but it's actually kind of cool that it did.
Yeah.
Similar with the baby.
Runs out.
Similar with the baby. Why do we need to watch childbirth scenes? After you watch that whole movie, you're like, we don't need to watch childbirth scenes. We don't need to watch her stab the guy. It's more effective in that way. Yeah. It's and Polanski does that a lot. Like, there's no flashbacks to, like, what would ruin Chinatown is a montage of John Huston coming home from like a day of work. Yeah. And taking off his belt and like a girl shivering in the corner. You know what I mean? Like a Christopher Nolan. I'm a fan, but like a Christopher Nolan montage, like happening while she's telling the story. No, instead we slap her and we read between the lines. Like that's that's why I love Polanski. He just knows exactly what to show you and what not to show you. And again, that some of those might be happy accidents, but a lot of times you can tell, like, oh wait, actually no, keep that. Like, and I forget who. I think Peter Bogdanovich was saying, he's like, Orson Welles told him that like the best things you see on film oftentimes are accidents, and the skill is understanding when to keep that. That's where the skill comes into play. So I just wonder if some of that happened in a 3-hour film where you're like, okay, cut that, see how that works. Oh, that looks kind of cool, so that's. So there's scenes that you think would be so pivotal that you'd want to see, like these standoff things, and it ends on a very somber note, because it's a tale of female persecution. But again, I don't think she did a whole lot wrong. So it's just she finally agrees that she'll go away with the guy, but the guy's like, oh, you did something actually worse than the time I actually left you the first time. But okay, I'll see you off to Stonehenge. And then she's captured by authorities. But fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's very much worth it. Pretty good bounce back after all for Polanski. Pretty good. Pretty good. So I do love the idea of God dang, I got accused of pedophilia. Let me call a little nasty. See if she wants to do a movie. I love
the to Sharon at the beginning. That was really sweet. At the beginning of the movie, just says Sharon.
I noticed that too.
Yeah,
very sad. Very sad. But yes, it's Sharon Tate's favorite book, and we will talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at the end here, where that she buys it in the movie, which I never remembered until I watched it this time. What's next? What do we have next, Cody? What's next on the list?
God,
the 80s
probably didn't watch.
Well, no.
Oh,
Frantic. Next one we're talking. Well, I just mean what's the next one we're talking about? Yeah, Frantic. Is Bitter Moon before Frantic?
Oh, well, you said what we're talking about.
Yeah,
I think we're talking about Frantic.
Yeah,
but we can talk about Frantic.
Yeah, Frantic is good. It's a good film.
Harrison Ford, Emmanuel Seignier.
Emmanuel Seignier,
I think is making this movie. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's very. I don't know if that's how they met. I don't know a lot about their genesis of their relationship. It doesn't concern me all that much, to be honest. But I'm glad he's found love. She's still with him to this day. She has
2 kids, and
she's got a very strange look about her, but she's psycho and scary, so it's hot.
Yeah.
So and actually, her scariest role is the Ninth Gate, where she's actually the nicest that she is in any movie.
Yeah.
As the devil. But it's still really scary because she's like, it's the devil, and you're like, but she becomes his muse in a lot of films. Pretty easy way to save money, by the way, if you want a woman in your movie. If you want a leading role, a woman that's definitely down for nudity, definitely down, is obviously a skilled dancer because her moves in Bitter Moon are crazy, and definitely can do all the things that you want in this.
Yeah, there's a reason why there's the classic director actress pairing that happens a lot.
And she's probably like, "Oh man, I don't want to do another movie," and he's like, "I'll buy you a fucking bag." Like, you could just see that or something. I could just it's like a total of like $75,000 like it spent on her in the movie. That's sick though. Like, I love that. I absolutely love that. It's very Cassavetes build, actually, like where you just hire all your friends and you all just
that seems to be really how movies work. Is you hire all your friends just as you get up.
Some of your friends start getting a little too big for their britches, though. Jack Nicholson, he would have been in way more Polanski movies if he didn't blow up.
You
know what I mean? Like, Jack Nicholson was like, "Hey, dude, I got to ride this out. Like, I'm hot as hell right now. I can't be just, I can't be doing that." So Frantic's really good. It's just a straightforward thriller. Like, it's not like a lot.
It's like a kind of a remake of Vertigo-ish, a little bit of what is that other Hitchcock movie with Cary Grant? I can't think of the name.
Notorious. No. Well, San Francisco.
That's Vertigo.
Yeah, San Francisco's Vertigo. No, it's very Hitchcockian though. I mean, it is.
It's a Hitchcock homage. Harrison Ford's in it. He's great. One of his better performances at this point.
Yeah, he's great in it, and he's when Polanski wins for The Pianist in 2001, they show the award ceremony of Polanski's on like a there's just like a still of him, you know, when they show like the live reaction of everybody who's nominated, it's like Scorsese and like all these other people, and then like Roman Polanski just is like a still of him with a megaphone on set, and and then he wins, and everybody loses their shit and gets really. It's not just like sarcastic clapping. Everyone's like, "Yeah, Roman!" Like, and Harrison Ford presents the award, or accepts it on his behalf. He was presenting the award, so it was kind of sweet actually. And but Harrison Ford's great in it, really cool. A lot of hotel stuff, a lot of like going to the front desk, like who's been tampering. That becomes a huge thing with Polanski. Like almost all his movies is like bellhops and front desk people like being like implicated in all of these things. Like that's like it's like his new apartment. Obsession in these later films. Frantic's good. We skipped over Pirates, which is just I haven't seen.
I've never seen
I
kind of want to see it because I like Pirates.
Walter Matthau does rule too, so like that. He's great. Bad News Bears, shout out. And he's just a really fun old school comedy actor. And but again, Polanski comedy, it kind of scares me.
Yeah, so I'm afraid it's just a straightforward spoof, and it won't be.
He's been trying to get that movie made since like the early 70s.
He's talking about it all the time in Roman by Polanski. He doesn't. It gets made like 2 years after the book comes out.
I was gonna say, you'd imagine he's like almost getting ready to make it by the time he finishes the book. You know, during that time, I guess it's important to say like Frantic's. I don't have much to say about Frantic. Watch it though; it's very good. Very fun time. Good, like classic, like got beers in the fridge, looking for something to watch. It's on streaming. It was a big movie. I think it made pretty good money too. I think
so.
I think it was pretty successful. Definitely check it out. One thing that's really nice though is he in the 80s after Tess, he goes back to Poland. It's very sweet. It's the way his autobiography ends. I'd like to talk about that a little bit. He's doing plays. He sees kind of Poland bouncing back for like the first time ever. Like in his life, where he's just like, wow, they actually like realize that communism's retarded, and like this is, you know, like I'm starting to see like the Western things that I like incorporated in the place that I love, you know, and
he has this pretty like astute observation of like there's all these people that have just dealt with fascism and then communism all their life, and now they're trying to embrace capitalism, and they're like having a hard time doing it because now it's like things are your responsibility.
Well, there is like usually you have to like phase things out. You know, it's like it's tough to rug pull like on a thing. Like you're just like you rug pull even a horrible thing. Like, you know, when you pull out of a war somewhere, everyone's like, great, we pulled out of the war. It's like we've seen people do that wrong. Biden administration, leave a bunch of military equipment there, and like, you know, all of these things like you. So he's talking about that. It's really sweet. He like sees his dad. And all that, and it's a really nice ending to, like I said, a pretty harrowing last few 100 pages of the book. Pretty nice ending, and Roman's life, you know, goes pretty well after this. What we think, you know, like the hard part does seem over, and
he, like the odd man out thing, he does have that situation in 2009 where he thinks he's going to get extradited, then he doesn't.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is you can't really like chill ever. That's kind of the problem. It feels like you're in the witness protection program in a way, like where it's like, you know, mobster and you're like working at like Target or something.
But it's kind of strange. He's like he's basically like world hopping all the time. He's like he was going to Switzerland.
He can go literally anywhere else.
Anywhere but America.
He can go anywhere else. He can make movies with people from America. Like, hey, you want to go? We'll just do a soundstage thing in France and make it look like New York if you want. Like, and people do it. He has big name people in his movies. Huge actors all the time in these films. Everybody's jumping over themselves to go work with him because even though he is combative and tough on set, they say he's really rewarding and he knows what he wants and he's very clear about what he wants. He doesn't change his mind a lot. It's very much like, this is what we're doing. Do you want to do it? Let's do it. And that's his process. And he does get accused of Kubrickian stuff, but I don't think he's nearly as meticulous.
He's like he's a taskmaster for sure, and he like knows the shit he wants. But like with Kubrick, when you're like taking like 80-90 takes for like every scene, at a certain point it becomes like, do you know what you want?
Right. And how much of this is your neuroses? How much of this is your anxiety? You know, how much of this is obsessive compulsive? Like is this really about the film? And look, with Kubrick, the final product's the final product. You look at it and you're like, it's fucking good. So I don't care how the sausage is made. And in fact, it's kind of silly when you think about it. But I think it was a more fun time on a Polanski set. You know, and that's why you maintain these relationships with people for a long time. Whereas Kubrick really kept his character actors around really well. But so a lot of the stars were like, never doing that again. You know, and so okay, so let's move to Bitter Moon. I think is our next.
That's next.
The next of the highlight. Again, we're not covering everything, guys. Sorry if your favorite movie didn't get, but I think that's fucking bullshit. I think we are covering your favorite movie. There's just no way Pirates is your fucking favorite Polanski movie.
Guy whose favorite Polanski movie is what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the John Cleese one.
No, it's the 72. We totally skipped it. I didn't even bring it up. It's like a sex comedy. It's unwatchable. I watched it.
That's black and white, right?
No, it's color.
Oh, okay. I'm not watching that bullshit.
It's terrible.
Yeah, he's got some flops.
He directs the hell out of it. It looks great.
Yeah, to be honest, from like 80 to like 2000, not a lot of misses. For a guy who's in the later part of his prime. You know?
He's never hit that high again after Tess, I think.
I disagree, but we'll talk about it.
Fair enough.
Okay. So Bitter Moon, another movie I love. I loved it, and this was my like gem of like. That's the best part about doing these deep dives is like you think you know somebody, you think you know the director pretty well. I went on a Polanski binge like 2 years ago, watched like most of the big things. And then you had mentioned Bitter Moon. I'm looking on streaming service. I'm like, wow, I just don't know what this is. I was raised by a woman who loved Hugh Grant. My mom likes anything British. But Hugh Grant was, and then of course she found out Hugh Grant was horny and was like, no, terrible.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. How could he be horny? How could he cheat on what's her name, Elizabeth Hurley? That was a big thing.
Women really
they don't get it.
About,
they just don't get it. They just don't
cheating.
They don't understand. They don't understand what new pussy is. That's just they just don't get it. I'm just like truly, and it's just like or like Hugh Grant just went to like a fucking prostitute. You know what I mean? And like got sucked off by like and she was a POC, so it was that part's kind of interesting. But like
he's a progressive.
he was supporting POC sex workers. So again, women have to be okay with that now. Like if this, that story breaks now, they're like stunning.
Ben Veni actually
cheat on that white woman, Hugh.
You go.
But Hugh Grant's phenomenal in this as a complete beta dork in it, but a beta dork similar to Polanski's like whatever Tchaikovsky guy in the Tenant, where he's just kind of stumbling into things and kind of it's like
he's very Jeffrey Beaumont from Blue
it's
Velvet.
like yes good call.
Character,
he's very it's like a fucking cruise ship noir, like erotic noir. It's really interesting. But Peter Coyote steals the show. He's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. I didn't research a lot about the makings of a lot of these movies coming up. They're not in the autobiography. I kind of feel like they're all made the same way because it's just like Polanski's got a system.
I'm
now.
Polanski. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm Roman Polanski. Would you like to be in my movie where there's titties everywhere and sex all the time and sometimes the devil?
Sign me up.
Yeah, and everybody says yes, I would like to do that. And then when they do it and then when CGI is discovered, he decides a lot of things can be CGI. So, but this is a really really good movie. It's on Internet Archive. You can check it out. Pretty good copy of it.
I have the Kino Lorber Blu-ray.
Nah, I think I want to own it. I want my wife to see it. She'd really like it. And I watched it just because we were like, oh, I'm home and I'm gonna watch it. And I watched it on my computer and I was like, holy shit, this is really good. And Emmanuelle Seigner is her classic femme fatale that she is pretty much in most Polanski films. She is really sexual, and Hugh Grant hears nothing but evil things about her the whole time and gets progressively hornier for her. That's not real, of course. That never happens. But Peter Coyote is in a wheelchair telling the story of how they met and their relation and all the ups and downs of their relationship dynamics and all the times it's flip-flopped. And he's not in a wheelchair in those scenes, those flashbacks. So you're like, how did we get here? So very, very Hitchcockian, very, very sexual, milk being poured all over titties. Women drinking milk out of the carton like animals, pig play, pup play. There's a lot of really gross things that happen to it, but Peter Coyote is unreal in this. I think I don't know what else came out that year. I don't know what other actor performances, but Oscar goes to Peter Coyote that year. He's out of control in this movie. He also brilliantly cast.
I don't even know if I've seen a lot of Peter Coyote movies.
He's in a couple things. He was very much of that time. He did a lot of narration work, I think, and I think he does some audiobooks. He's because he does have a really good voice.
Yeah,
he's a really good speaker.
Voice,
really good, and he kind of can do this. Like you can kind of where if you're reading a crime novel, you really need to do that. He's excellent. And
Peter Coyote is a private eye in a 1997 remake of a
what movie is that? I think I've seen it.
I'm just saying that would rock.
Oh, because I've seen him as a private eye in a movie. I was like, what? Yeah, no. Yeah, exactly.
That would go hard if that exists.
Absolutely. No, he's great, and because he's kind of ugly but kind of charming. He's not conventionally attractive. I'm sure there's people that would find him attractive. He's very tall, kind of affable man, but he is a failed novelist. Never really had. He's not a has-been. He's a never was. He always seems to be coasting off of some random Yankee savings account. Just has this beautiful apartment, but meets this waitress, Emmanuelle Seigné. And again, this is all being told to Hugh Grant, who knows how mean and scary she is, but he just keeps leaving his wife, whom they are. Him and Hugh Grant's wife, and Hugh Grant's wife looks perfect for the part. She's they have a boring marriage, but they're we love our boring marriage. We don't have the couple problems. We have a boring marriage. Isn't it great that we're just boring? That whole facade. And Polanski loves to poke at that. He loves to be there's no such thing. You need something nasty to happen to you. He's just you need something gross. She's too old. But there's just so much of that is, and there's a great scene. Shout out to the turbaned Indian man in this movie. He's fantastic. So is the little girl that he has. Where they're taking a cruise ship to India, which not happening with me, but they're taking
two
a cruise
thumbs
ship.
down.
Yeah, they're not. No thanks. But the Indian guy is why do you guys want to go to India? And they're we just want to explore the world. He's no, you have to just find in London. And he's why don't you guys have children? And they're oh, we don't want to overpopulate the world. He goes, no, that is only a problem in India. Because it's really funny. I'm not paraphrasing. I think that's actually the dialogue, and it's really funny. And it's just these people that try to they act like they're not trying to find a spark in their relationship. They just act like it's well, this is our scheduled vacation. And so, but you realize halfway through there, but that Hugh Grant is not satisfied, nor is his wife. His wife is constantly flirting with weird suited Euro trash men, weird which they do that. Don't let them. Don't leave them alone.
Brunette around the.
Yeah, very White Lotus. And it's happening in White Lotus right now.
Yeah.
It's literally happening in White Lotus. It's the that's happening while your constant flashbacks of Peter Coyote, Emmanuelle Seigné sex, very odd sex. Emmanuelle Seigné wins though. Emmanuelle Seigné wins because she's dominating Peter Coyote at first. Then Peter Coyote's fuck you, bitch. He's I got you pregnant. Abort that shit. I'm an author. I'm a novelist. Hell no. And all that, and then after a while, Peter Coyote is hit by he's cheating on her openly, rubbing it in her face. They clearly love the power struggle between the two, between the stuff, even though they may be kind of grinning and just wincing during all of it. And finally Peter Coyote is hit by a bus. And if a 10-pound bus, it was very Morrissey lyric. What happens to him? He gets crushed by a bus. We realize that's why he's paralyzed. But unfortunately, he's got basically Kathy Bates' misery nurse, but hot. Emmanuelle Seigné, who is basically just you are all mine now. Her voice, she's not a good actress, but she's actually perfect for everything Polanski puts her in. It's amazing. She straight up has a deer in the headlights look all the time when she talks. But it works. And that's why he's oh, what if you were just evil in every movie I put you in, but you don't play anything? Love it. Absolutely love it. So I won't spoil the ending for you guys because I just don't think a lot of people have seen this. Check it out. The ending is shocking, genuinely shocking. and very good. It is the gem of this episode for me. I have it in that, just below Tenant, I would say. It ranked in there. And what is our next main?
Death in the Maiden,
which I think is his third masterpiece.
Okay. Yeah.
I fucking love this movie. I watched it when I did. I was looking on a Polanski deep dive. My goal usually I'm watching stuff for the pod, but for the most part I wasn't at the time. We really were loving his movies, and my wife's kind of like me. It's like, oh, that guy's a freak. Let's watch everything he ever made, just to see if he's just No, it's I hate that people don't like. Why do people act like that isn't the real thing? And so
my dad looked at me weird when he realized I was reading the Polanski autobiography.
I read it with my mom. I had it open like
I was reading it in public,
like a White Lotus book, like people reading it. I was just reading it in front of I read it in front of my girlfriend's parents, who are very if you talk to them, would seem very conservative people, but they'll watch any of these movies and they'll be like, that was cool. And then they my father-in-law, who again feels like he looks like a very conservative man in his 70s, kind of soft spoken, but he loves Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So he was like, oh, cool. Polanski. Yeah. And they know what he did. They're just it's funny because most people that live through it, they're just yeah, that guy's weird.
Yeah.
How gross, and then, but if you're on Letterboxd at 23 years old right now,
it's
how is anybody watching these movies? And
how could someone willingly watch a Polanski movie?
Yeah, well, how could anyone watch a Jane Schoenbrunn movie? Yeah, how could somebody willingly watch that? I couldn't. So
still haven't. No.
How can anyone watch a Brady Corbet movie?
Yeah,
that's a bigger question. That's a tougher question to answer.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't hate Vox Lux like everybody else does, but
I like exactly half of it.
You're right. And here's the thing. The problem is when I watched The Brutalist, I was like, oh, that's not a thing that he does. He just doesn't know how to make movies. So then Vox Lux becomes worse because you're like, oh, that wasn't a tone shift. You just don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, there's a 45-minute short film in Vox Lux.
Mm-hmm.
And then once Natalie Portman comes on screen, the movie's over.
See, I like her shitty Boston
I like her.
Accent. Yeah, her shitty Boston accent is really funny in this. There's that line where she talks to Charlotte Gainsbourg and he's like, are you retarded? Because your jaw's a little slack and it looks like life's happening to you. And then she just does the same voice for Jackie Kennedy 2 years later, or 2 years prior.
She's really great. Funny. I love Natalie Portman.
Yeah,
it's
also in a very pedophilic movie when she was a kid. Yeah, that movie's. I still can't get through that movie. It's fucking odd. You're like, damn, really? It's gross. But Death in the Maiden, speaking of sexual assault, pedophilia, Death in the Maiden is the O.J. Simpson If I Did It. Not even If I Did It, just I Did It. Yeah, I did it. It's about a woman. Again, Polanski doesn't care about accents. It's all white, capital W, white people in South America during a junta or post junta. If anybody knows what that means. It's just some Rage Against the Machine ass, uprising band, just South America's scary. South America is very fucking scary. I read By Night in Chile by Roberto Bolaño, and I want no part of any of that. And so the Sigourney Weaver, in my opinion, her best performance that I've seen her in. She's phenomenal in it. She is a woman who is hiding out at some lawyer who's leading these Nuremberg style trials against fascist people to decide what they're going to do with them, and basically lock them up and throw away the key. He was actually leading the resistance. I have a feeling communists hate this movie because I have a feeling it's commenting on some overthrown. I have a feeling. I have a feeling Roman Polanski, a lot of his hate is people are his he just doesn't like communism. And so there's that's happening. But then all of a sudden a guy played by Ben Kingsley, his name's fucking Miguel or something. But he actually is racially ambiguous enough to play any nationality, which is kind of cool. He's kind of like John Turturro.
He played Gandhi, I think.
He played Gandhi. He looks like Gandhi.
Yeah.
And the idea is that the very straight-laced husband is hiding his wife, but this guy that he's drinking with at a conference takes him home. They get hammered again, and the wife sneaks out and steals the car and runs it into the ocean. And you're kind of like, what the fuck, lady? You are paranoid. What is that woman moment? And then she sees a tape in the car and is just like, oh no, this is him. And we don't know what any of this is. This is based off a famous play. I can't remember what the playwright's name is, but
Ariel
it's based
Dorfman, I think.
There you go. It's based off of a very famous play. I would love to see a production of this play.
Yeah.
So the husband is drinking with him, and the guy quotes Nietzsche, which I love. And the guy's like Nietzsche or somebody like Nietzsche said or something. And then Sigourney Weaver's character comes back and is like ties the Ben Kingsley character up while her husband's hammered, sleeping in the room. Her husband wakes up sober, and is just like sits down and is just like, "What are you doing? What?" I love it. His voice is so. It's like weird. He has like a not good performance, but again, Polanski's really good at somebody not being good at like acting, and it just really fits. Like if it was a good performance. Like if it was like capital A acting, you're like, no. All he needs is a hysterical woman when the absurdity knob gets turned up in his film and the stakes get really high. That's when he needs the good acting to happen. But before that, it's usually really like Kubrick has the same thing where it's the very dry speak, the very, like who would ever say like, what are you talking about? Kind of quasi funny. But the man is basically saying, look, you think this guy tortured you. I'm your husband. Let's do the due process. And she's like, fuck due process. I didn't get due process. There are some very graphic depictions of what happened to her. There were rods jammed inside of her that electrocuted her. She makes an allusion to not being able to conceive children at the beginning.
Yeah. It's very Night Porter.
Very Night Porter. Yeah, I have. And she, but it's funny because this play was written, I don't know. I think it was written before, before the movie was made, I think, right?
I think it was pretty modern, actually.
Oh, was it modern?
Like 60s or 70s. Yeah.
Well, there are dates that are changed on the dates of the sexual assault. And the date is changed to 1977, which Roman Polanski, when was his court trial? 1977.
Not 1978.
Yeah, and there's twists and turns in this movie. So I won't spoil it because again, I think it's another one a lot of people haven't seen. I think this movie is a masterpiece. I love every frame of it. I love the beach. I love the beach house. I love the house. Yeah. All the scenes in the house are great.
Again, Polanski, great single location director. He's great at taking plays and making them cinematic.
William Friedkin would later become this in his life with his Tracy Letts adaptations. Like the best directors, I think, view that as a really good challenge. And it's kind of like I'm not doing these grand big scale. I'm too old to travel like everywhere and do all these.
Expensive.
They're expensive, and I'm old. Park my ass here and let's make a movie. And so he's because Polanski's what, like 65 or something when he's making this movie, probably at this point. Like Death in the Maiden. Yeah, he's starting to get up. Again, he's still alive now, so he's not near the death at all. But there's that beautiful tracking scene when Ben Kingsley is, or when Sigourney Weaver's walking Ben Kingsley with the gun, and it's and it's backwards, and it's a classic Polanski close up on the face, very Hitchcockian, but in the twisted Polanski sense, where he's backing up, where the camera's backing up with them, the lights kind of swinging off and on the people. It's wonderful. The suspense is there at every moment. It's centered around Franz Schubert. Stuff, which is the first clue that this man maybe is who I think he is. Now, the husband, the great debate about it is that both of them are correct. The husband is like, we overthrew them so we could have due process. Yeah, that was why we were doing that. And she's like, after this, we'll do that. After this, we'll do due process with everyone else, but not this guy. Trust me. And he doesn't really believe her at first. Again, classic husband stuff. Like, no, I didn't see the blinds move. You know what I mean? Like, no, that sound is probably not. We're not being drone struck right now. Like, like we just sometimes you got to do that by default. You just have to introduce that. Maybe that was a sound. But this happens, and he's. But after a while, she starts saying, he would always quote Nietzsche to me. He's like, fuck, dude, you're really just like riffing about Nietzsche. And she's like, Schubert and, this stuff. And, finally the truth comes out. Let's just say that much. And I just adore this movie. I watched it for the second time. I think this might be my wife's favorite Polanski. She was locked in on this one. It's crazy. So just again, put this down. I think it's free on Prime right now. So if like, if you guys,
I
this
think
will
I
come
watched
out.
it again on Canopy, actually.
You never know. I think this will be released at the beginning of April, which is next week. So that you never know. They switch it out sometimes. But you can watch it. It's available. It's and make it
It shows up on Tubi a lot too.
If you're nasty, watch Bitter Moon and fucking Death and the Maiden double feature. Pretty sick.
Yeah.
Pretty sick. Or you could, like I said, if you're not quite that nasty, you could go Frantic and then one of those two as a double feature. All work. All excellent. Again, we're gonna skip around a little bit. I don't have much to say about his life personally. Like at this point, I think he's just been kind of like living like a little castle life. I just picture him in a castle, just hanging out, and getting deployed on assignment, and then making a movie whenever he feels like doing it. If something's happening and I missed it, leave it in the comments. I guess I don't know. Don't really care, to be honest. The Ninth Gate. That's our next one, right?
Yeah.
The Ninth Gate. I love this movie. It's not a perfect movie. It's got flaws. Every time it's on,
I know Jack hates it.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Oh no,
I don't know why, but
that's weird. Yeah,
I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's fine. Like I love Johnny Depp.
Well, that's what the movie is Johnny Depp being cool. Because guess who I don't like? Johnny Depp.
Really?
I'm not a fan. I don't. I like. Okay. Nightmare on Elm Street, his first movie, fine, it's great. Right, the guys, you look at him, you're like, holy shit, this guy's incredible looking, amazing. The Pirates movies are okay. It's just you watch them now, and it's just a caricature. It's just all these. He has a movie called Dead Man, which is very weird, like kind of like odd Wes Anderson-y Western that he did. That's kind of good. When he started being mumbling like Keith Richards, Johnny Depp, I kind of tuned out, which happened like right after The Ninth Gate, and but the night. Secret Window. He's in a lot of really bad movies, like Secret Window. Like he really doesn't pick very good movies to be in a lot of times. Obviously, if you're a girl and he's the hottest guy of all time, I'm not going to debate you. I mean, he looks fantastic. I mean, I bet some girls still would. But I've never considered him to be this like phenomenal presence on the screen. Like I've always seen him as kind of beta, kind of like I prefer with the 90s type. I prefer Christian Slater to the Johnny Depp.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Like some great actor. I just like when Johnny.
No, but just who I like seeing operating on a screen. I'm like, like you could give
Christian
that
Slater
part to Christian Slater because he is like handsome, not to the Depp degree, but he is just like. He's got that like weird voice that I like, and it's just like I don't know. I obviously he's great, but like Johnny Depp, and I mean, you open a People magazine from like 2002, and there's just women like just gushing over him like in every article, and I love his star power, and it's we don't
better time.
We just don't do that for like good male like leads anymore. So I'm nostalgic for the time where he was the top guy. But that being said, he's phenomenal in this movie. He looks cool. My wife is very into bags, accessories, and stuff like that. In this movie, literally just has like bags hitting the floor, jingling all the time. And she's just like, "Oh, I love that sound." And, which I get. Like it's like ASMR, and it is. The CGI is funny. I was talking about this on an episode recently. I think it was with JDO and Kelby, where I was like, we were talking about CGI, where I'm like, it's objectively like shitty. The CGI,
it looks like a PS2 like opening trailer,
but it makes it scarier to me. Like I don't know why. Like it makes it scarier. Yeah, it's very PS2. It's very like he's like the kids. They think this is cool. The fucking fire everywhere. Like, I would have done this in Rosemary's Baby, but we couldn't do it. Like you know, it's clearly a new toy. You know that he has in this, and he's a maximalist with it on here. But to set the scene. Johnny Depp is a rare book collector. This is GOF build to the core. Rare book collector, and right away, it's. I mean, some could say it did end well for him, but in my opinion, it did not end well for him. He does not have any beliefs in anything. He says, "My belief is my rate." I believe is what he says. Like my morals are like my rate, or like basically he's sought to. He's like an appraiser of libraries. He kind of like. In my opinion, scams some people at the beginning of out of like some rare.
He's like a vulture, basically.
Yeah, he's a vulture. He's basically like, look, I can get you 600,000 for this library, and but I would like to buy this off you for like this much money, which these people don't know anything about books. Like their dad died, and he's like, I'll give you this for this rare Don Quixote, like literally like the original massive like leather bound published Don Quixote. It's probably like from Cervantes himself, like at his house and stuff. And he gets that and then takes it off to this like really cool, like rare bookstore, and basically scores. He's hired by this one guy who I think is a perfectly portrayed like actual Satanist. Forgetting his name, the character, but he's this looming presence in most of the
big actor too. I just can't remember.
He is, and he's massive. You just look at him; he's this huge guy, and he's just got
big
these,
as
like,
in name. Also,
I to be honest, I don't know
him,
him, but like he's like, you can tell right away. He's like, I'm the real fucking devil worshiper. Like like I'm these little performative people that meet up and chant stuff. He's like, they don't know, like I'm looking for this Ninth Gate book or whatever. And he thinks there's 3 copies that mean anything. And Johnny Depp is to find all 3 copies and note the differences with them, see which one's the real one and stuff. The drawings I think are very scary in it. I think the drawings where the people's faces keep showing up on them, that's really cool. Really cool. I don't know how I wonder how they did. Do they have somebody draw all these things individually? Are these it's interesting, but it all culminates into Johnny Depp meeting Emmanuel Senier as kind of his guardian angel, or is it the guardian devil? Pretty clear that it's the devil. And but he's running away she guards him. Basically, he's like this chosen one. It's like, no, you need to get this book. Like you need to do this. Her combat scene is among the funniest thing I've ever seen in a film, where she like matrixes down the staircase and does like a Liu Kang like right B kick on like Super Nintendo and just kicks the Cisco bleached haired guy in the face. I promise you, I like this movie a lot, guys. I'm not like don't let this dissuade you of it. I'm a big fan of it. But I love the difference between, I'm always a sucker for, like, if you're gonna make a movie about the devil, for possession to really take hold, it has to be somebody who doesn't believe in anything, right? Or not possession, but like inability to see a mission as objectively evil. And this person, anybody who worships money, is going to find a way towards the devil if they can't get that money after a while, if they don't have any solid beliefs, even if they don't think they're communicating with the devil themselves. Now, what Polanski's posing in this thing is, what if they actually did just communicate with the devil, like all rich people, and like and there's people that believe they do, and I'm not exactly opposed to the idea that happens for some people. There's that really crazy, like it looks almost like an influencer, like that they would like, where they have that big like Satan thing with the weird hot girl, the weird hot like racially ambiguous woman who is said to have been the real Satanist. She was the one who made her husband kill himself, and or one way or another, she was the real person who wanted the book and all of that. And she thinks they're going to summon the devil at this event, but this big man, the original man that hired Johnny Depp's character, is like, no, he strangles her. It's actually really shot. That's why it's the CGI and like the hokiness of the film is scary, because he straight up strangles her with her Satan chain, like the guy, and it's not to stop the devil. In fact, it's quite the opposite. So you're like watching this like NCAA tournament of like trying to win the fucking finals for the devil happening, and then it all culminates to a scene where he pours gasoline all over himself and in this castle that Johnny Depp then just realizes, that has a picture of it, finally realizes he needs to go there. And I love the slow noirish feeling of it. Like, I do.
Based on a book, and it seems like it'd be a pretty,
it's funny. Detective Wolfman had told me that the book pales in comparison to the movie. He loves the movie. He's a huge fan of the movie, and it's called El Club du Mal.
And it ties in Alexander Dumas somehow.
I would like to read it though. I am a fan, because I was gonna like save this, but I'm like, I love this movie too much. It's a lot of fun. I own a really old DVD copy of it. Really big music. It's a big music Polanski movie. Like big sounding, almost like Hitchcock.
It's almost like a parody of like Rosemary's Baby and Chinatown.
But his parodies make it scary to me. That's what's funny. That's what I like about it, is that it's so hokey and kind of looks stupid, but it's like, it's just, there's like really viscerally odd things happening in it that like you can't explain, and Polanski forces you to deal with that, like to like sit there and like that's a wall of CGI fire and Johnny Depp having sex with the devil, like who is also Roman Polanski's wife. Like you're forced to sit there and deal with it. Like it doesn't really let you off the hook, and it's I think it's kind of a fun, like I oddly I think it's kind of a closing a chapter of the Sharon Tate thing, in my opinion. Not so much anything that happens in the story, but just the subject matter of it, like making an actual like demonic devil movie as a way of kind of being like, okay, I can kind of not laugh at it, but I can kind of just I can do this again, because you know that content in Rosemary's Baby for a lot of people was probable cause to just tee off on Polanski. This is before his pedophilia stuff is out there and everything. To just be like, you did this. You're the reason. You summoned these freaks, you know? And so I think doing this movie kind of was just like, okay, at ease, you know, like just kind of like putting that out. And again, it's not a perfect movie. It's not even close to a perfect movie. I think it's a very fun watch. Little slog. I think you could shave about 20 minutes off this movie. And I could you just watch it with me on a screener, and I'll tell you exactly the 20 minutes we can take off. Like it's just a lot of like the hotel stuff in the middle is just like not that interesting. So you could have done that, but it is a fun. It's a 2-hour movie that if it was an hour and 40, I think we'd be just good. So yeah, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of the movie though, nonetheless. He wins an Oscar for The Pianist. I haven't rewatched it. I watched it when it came out, and it was good. It was definitely like an Oscar bait movie about a subject that's definitely going to get you an Oscar, with a guy that definitely can play a Jewish man from Eastern Europe. He does win an Oscar, which is nice. It's poetic, and like I said, if you watch the ceremony, it's great. Meryl Streep, all these people are like, it's like, yeah, Roman. These people who like don't even work with him and stuff, like it's wonderful. And then I guess, you know, look, we'll talk about this last movie here because it's not a Polanski movie, technically. He is a character in this movie, but it's not his movie. But any final thoughts about his life and stuff? I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk more, but like, it's just, we're kind of in just like catalog mode at this point.
He has some other, he's still making movies. He had one come out a couple years ago, The Palace.
With John Cleese. It's with John Cleese. It looked very stupid British, like period piece. Like, oh, pass me the fish, you know, just like one of those.
He did a movie in 2010 called The Ghostwriter. That's based on a.
I still haven't seen it, and it looks good. That's Ewan McGregor and somebody else.
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, it looks good. I'd like to see it.
It's good, and it's based on a Robert Harris novel. Robert Harris also wrote. The Officer and a Spy, which he did in 2019,
which I'd also like to see, but it's really hard to find.
It was never released in the United States because of Me Too.
Because of Me Too, not you personally. But
Me Too. Me too. People wouldn't distribute it.
And I was a big, even with The Palace, which unfortunately The Palace probably just wasn't good enough to win the battle against libtards, because I remember when I saw he was making one, and I told my wife, if this is screening anywhere here, we have to go see. We just got to go support Rome Dog, and she was like, yeah, let's go.
We have to support POC voices.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Polish.
He's not
Polish.
Polish.
Polish of I don't know, something, and Polish of cinema, and that's what he is. So, but we were like, we need it, let's go see it, and it wasn't screening anywhere, and nobody cared. I was just like, oh, that sucks. So, and it just doesn't seem like it's had a like anybody's talking about it. It probably sucked. So, unfortunately, that's too bad. So, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you can't talk about Roman Polanski in post 2019 without talking about this movie. Quentin Tarantino's. It's weird. I saw this movie in 2019. Now you're similar to me. I used COVID as a way to get into film. I've always been I've always liked movies, but I just watched them and then like loved some of them. And then I didn't really like seek anything out in movies. I loved like Scorsese, and I loved, you know, Step Brothers, and just like frat bro, like poster movies, basically. Tarantino was definitely one of the guys I loved. So Tarantino is kind of the bridge between like the frat bro and the cinephile, kind of like that is like the middle. They have Tarantino in the middle of the Venn diagram of all the stuff we've seen. So I didn't see it in theater. We rented it and I liked it, but I was like, why is everyone raving about this? Like, it's good. but I was like, it's good. What people are talking about, and I always had a problem with Jackie Brown, which I think is a good movie, but people say they say it as like a status symbol, like it's number one, and I'm like, it's not number one.
Yeah, it's not number one.
It's very good. It's just
it's good.
I like his most Reddit movie, Inglourious Basterds. That's still my favorite Tarantino movie. I love Inglourious Basterds.
I love Inglourious Basterds too.
It's such a fun ride. It's such a fun movie and satisfying.
That was my favorite one for a while. This rewatch of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood might have.
That's where we're at now, because I'm like I'm watching it. I still won't say number one, but there is. I feel so stupid saying this, but there is like a learning curve for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like Bret Easton Ellis, I remember listening when I started binging his podcast, like probably 3 or 4 years ago. He was just like, for like an hour and a half talking to himself about fucking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, about how it's the greatest thing he's like ever seen. And you're just like, but he's like KHM, the radio station, and I was going down, and there were these Swedish companies that used to advertise in LA. Now, if you're my age in LA, you saw this thing, and Bret Easton Ellis just waxing about all these niche LA things. I go, oh, okay, that's why you have to know to like it. No, you just got to know a lot about Roman Polanski, Sharon Tate, the Manson murders, and just cinema. Like you have to know like a little bit of film history, and that's a lot of times with Tarantino, once you get past Pulp Fiction, you kind of do. He does leave like. Another word I hate, Easter eggs. He does leave like cinematic Easter eggs if you know something about it, but you kind of have to know a little bit more in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, or if you just live in LA. Released similarly around that time that I love probably more than anybody. I think it was 2018, but Under the Silver Lake is kind of similar.
Great movie,
I fucking love that movie. I've covered it about 18 times, and I do it. I would sign up for a 19th, anybody. But it's I love that movie. It's kind of similar. That's like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for like a millennial in the 2000s. Like it's just it's got this Thomas Pynchon absurdist quality to it that I love. But with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it is. I rewatched it the other day because it was a good idea for you to say that we need to do it, because I would feel stupid if we didn't. And I was just locked in from the beginning. And after reading Roman's autobiography, Tarantino's love for Polanski shows up. You're just like, wow, man. Because I love Tarantino. People are sick of him. I think he's. I think the problem with Tarantino right now is when you hear him on a podcast, he's run out of movies to tell you about. So he tells you about retarded movies that aren't good, but with his Tarantino big braining, and then you turn it on, you're like, what are you talking about? But if you read Cinema Speculation, he gives you like pretty much nothing but good movies in those. Like it's just absolute fire. Rolling
Have you
Thunder.
Listened to Video Archives? I don't listen to it much anymore, but when it first started, I was listening to it pretty regularly.
I love Roger Avery a lot. Actually, I think he'd be really, honestly, like awesome RC guest at some point, because he's kind of out there a little. I
find it irritating occasionally, but
I like him. But I nonetheless I love Rules of Attraction. And I genuinely feel for, even though I know it, like the accident that he got into, I kind of feel that I kind of feel for how bad that went, like the Roger Avery thing. So. But I love the Rules of Attraction. His adaptation. It's probably, to be honest, you can make a case it's the best Bret Easton Ellis adaptation. Even though American Psycho is great, but
it's better than American Psycho. Yeah,
I think it's a better movie than American Psycho, and I think it's less memeable, and he really takes the energy of the book and does his own thing with it, which is the best way to adapt something.
Right. I still haven't read Rules of Attraction, but I love the movie.
Underrated Bret Easton Ellis book. Underrated. You would love it. I was shocked at how much I loved that book. But also not really. And then but Once Upon a Time in Hollywood right away. You're just gorgeous 60s California, massive budget. I think it's like, even though it was a huge hit, it like still took they gave Tarantino a blank check for this movie. Made at the perfect time, because if it was made 2 years later, it would have died. Because people just wouldn't have gone to the theater like in the way.
I'm really wondering whether Tarantino is just going to be like, I think that's my last movie. I think that's it.
He keeps flirting with stuff, but I think it's like, what else are you gonna do? This is like
what do you do after that?
This is like, it's tough for me to like say like how do you follow that up? And I think he's a brilliant writer. Like his books are fantastic. So like I think I haven't read the novelization of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I got it for my father-in-law for Christmas because he became obsessed with this movie, and he loved it. He absolutely loved it, and he read Cinema Speculation. And I loved that too. So I was like, if you want to just like keep writing dude, write a novel. Like literally a regular like novel would actually be at 60 years old. That's actually a really good time to like start writing novels. I feel like so like actually I feel like a good crime novel from him would be
like
fantastic.
He just starts churning out pulp paperbacks.
Come on, and 65. Brings them back because of like Gen X like royalty that he is. My gosh, what a good idea that would be. But it's cast perfectly, even though I do have problems with Leonardo DiCaprio. He's kind of in the Johnny Depp tier for me. I'm sorry, people. He's not terrible in this movie, but in my opinion, he's the worst part of a otherwise perfect movie. If I'm gonna nitpick it, the Django twang bothers me sometimes. And
he's that very like Daniel Day-Lewis type of actor that can be irritating.
But. So he's just exactly.
I like
it's actor. It's just like actors. Actor. Like, and I just don't care about that stuff.
He's a very kind of like I'm only good on my 10th take.
Exactly. And you know who hated him was Clint Eastwood, who's like, we don't do 10 takes. He did a very bad J. Edgar Hoover movie for Clint Eastwood, and Leo was like, he just didn't understand my process. I'm like, you don't do a Clint Eastwood movie for your process. Like you can't even. I mean, look at his fan club. I mean, come on, Jesus. Don't get me started. But the water. This episode is watermarked rare.
Quit horsing around.
Yeah, dude. This episode is. I'm gonna put a big Malpaso watermark on this episode, just over the whole thing. But he. Margot Robbie's fantastic as Sharon Tate. She doesn't look a thing like her. It doesn't matter. But she's fantastic in it. All the Sharon Tate scenes. I remember hearing Sam Lawson talk about there's too much Sharon Tate in this movie. You're wrong, Sam. I'm sorry.
Incorrect.
Incorrect. Because as a man who wrote a book about Chinatown, you have to know quite a bit about Polanski to do that. Polanski is literally the one time he just went goo goo gaga. Like Polanski, and any man who has a woman in their life they do that with, you just understand it completely. And if that's taken from you the way that it's taken from you, I was thinking about what Roman thought of this movie. He said he understood what Tarantino was doing. Emmanuel Seigné said, "How dare you?" Basically, which, to be honest, if that doesn't happen, you're not here. So, well, in theory, I mean, maybe I don't know. I don't think him and Sharon Tate were going to be married forever, though. That's my thing, because it's Hollywood, and the '60s were going to end, and arguably the thing that ended it was her death. But like the 60s were going to end, and it was going to get like to the 70s. Like, I think they were going to have some like Kramer versus Kramer ass like divorce or something. And unfortunately, I think that was going to happen. So who knows? But nonetheless, it's just watching her when you know what happens to her, not in the movie, but you know what happens to her, and you hear the stories about what just a ray of light she was, and her going to the theater. Basically, I'm in the movie, and it's like, it's not even that she wants to get in free, like, but she just wants you to know that she's in the movie, and not to brag, but just like, I can't believe I'm in a movie. And she takes the picture in front of the marquee and goes in and watches.
She's listening to everyone laugh at all of her scenes, and it's
her fight scene when she thinks about training with Bruce Lee, going to the rare bookstore to buy Tess of the D'Urbervilles for Roman. Emile Hirsch playing Jay Sebring is fantastic. And even though I think it's kind of a weird forced Tarantino side conversation, the Damian Lewis Steve McQueen thing where they're pointing out I think that part's weird a little, like, we don't need that. We don't need to zoom out. We don't need to zoom out that far and narrate like the way you're doing, because there is a narrator in this, and it's Kurt Russell and right? But
well, it's Kurt Russell talking like Tarantino.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And so, but like that part's weird where it's like Damian Lewis, who's like, that he's with so and so. She's like, well, she has a type, small, and boyish and cute, and that, which is, it's funny because like a lot of the like Laurel Canyon, like red pill stuff is, and there's a lot of damning evidence that Jay Sebring is like on some Manson shit, like in that book. Like he's involved in like every aspect of it, like the wig stuff. All these like Manson people used to work at this wig store that Jay Sebring would deal with in his hair stuff. Like he was constantly like, he was like the real socialite of Laurel Canyon amongst that group of that hung out with Polanski. And I still in the back of my mind,
he was the idea is that he was like in the Manson cult.
That's my no, and I don't know if that's his idea there, because that
I'm just trying to understand what your Sebring point is here.
Yeah. So the problem with this weird scenes of the Canyon thing, they don't tell you like what this all means. A lot of times they just kind of say like this guy is connected with this guy, and this guy has a connection with this, and it's a lot of it is like if you already believe that, this really helps because it's more things that can help you win an argument. But like the thing with Jay Sebring is his name constantly just comes up like in that book, where it's like hanging out with the Eagles, hanging out with so-and-so. And it's like over a span of like 5 years before Polanski ever even got there and stuff, like well rooted in the thing. And but my reason with that is I don't believe in the mistaken identity thing where he's that's Terry Melcher's house, who was working with Dennis Wilson, who they said was going to put out Charles Manson's album. And then they didn't, and that was why they targeted the house. That a lot of people think that's like that's a theory that like a really popular theory that Charles Manson didn't, Charles Manson was saying like, I'm, I will go. That's where Terry Melcher lives. Let's go kill Terry Melcher and the people that live in the house. And then they get there and go, oh, it's not them. Let's kill them anyways. I just don't think that happened. They were creepy crawling all the time, walking in people's houses in the dark, like red rooms and shit. Like they were doing all that stuff. I'm like, they knew who lived there. Like, I refuse to believe that they didn't know who lived there. And Tarantino does a pretty funny thing where he the scoping out of the house, where they go like, hey, is Terry here? Like the Manson guy. I mean, I think that's Manson, right?
That's Manson,
So like I kind of like what Tarantino's doing there. And I honestly didn't never put two and two together when I was watching it in the first time, where it's like, they know he lives there. Now, does he think Jay Sebring is Roman Polanski? Because they look kind of similar. Emil Hirsch and then the Polish guy playing Roman Polanski both have the kind of longish hair, both short and stuff, both kind of attractive, like looking and stuff. Like now that to me seems like a more plausible thing where maybe Jay Sebring is like they dated Sharon Tate and maybe they didn't know this and that. The whole thing is a mess. What I mean is Jay Sebring's name comes up in all of these things where you're just like, that's weird. Because you think of it as like, Wojtek is dating like Wojtek was dating Abigail Folger, who Folger's billionaire, and I'm like, that doesn't track with me at all. I'm like, the only way this makes sense is if Jay Sebring is somehow involved. I don't know what he did. But I just mean, I don't believe the mistaken identity thing. Because the whole thing is like these Manson people were like retarded, and I'm like, yes, they are, but they could go. They were staking. In my opinion, they were staking these places out. Like they were walking around, and it was so easy to just show up at somebody's house back then. Like these Manson girls were trafficked and prostituted around throughout the parties and stuff at all these Laurel Canyon parties. Like it was kind of like a way in. It was like, I have drugs and fucking free pussy for you guys. Like, can I come hang out? Like it's an easy way to like weasel yourself in, because they lived off at that ranch, which is like more rustic canyon kind of that way, which has a bunch of like also another crazy like underground city stuff built with like swastikas in it, very strange stuff, and is also tied to like the There Will Be Blood Doheny guy, oil money and stuff back in the day. There are some pretty damning things, but that's where Manson was like, and all these Dennis Wilson and all of these guys were congregating at first, and then Manson finds out, I got to get in at Laurel Canyon. That's where all these successful musicians are living right now and stuff. So they're trafficking pussy and doing all of these things. And that's shown really well with the Margaret Qualley character.
It's really like a who's who of all of the girls that would get really famous in the next few years.
Insane.
Mikey Madison, Sydney Sweeney, Margaret Qualley, even like throwing in Lena Dunham in there, even though she's
Dunham. Yeah. that's crazy that she's in this movie. I remember we were looking, I was like, why is she in Austin Butler? Austin Butler's in it. He's Tex.
He was actually like a Nickelodeon Disney Channel kid before all this stuff. He was like in like
Yes.
Victorious and iCarly and stuff like that.
He was. That's right. I do
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah. So yeah, that's all of that stuff's great. Mikey Madison got the audition for Honora because of this movie. That's what Sean Baker said. He was like, we knew she could handle something like this because of her thing. I forgot Mikey Madison is the one that gets absolutely pwned.
Amazing.
Like, I didn't realize that was her. I was like, oh shit, she got rocked in this. You know, it's but yeah, I love it. I mean, I love the scenery. I love just the like bullet style driving scenes. Like even though they're not chases, like there's just the beautiful because Tarantino loves bullet. I mean, who doesn't? But there's all these I love it. It was so fun. I mean,
it makes you want to like just get in a time machine and just live in 1968 Los Angeles for like ever.
We get the Roman Polanski Easter egg, like, Mr. Saperstein, Dr. Saperstein, was his dog, throwing it. Like, that's great too. Just wonderful. There is not too much Sharon Tate in this movie. It is in my opinion, some of the best scenes. And when she's pregnant,
and it's like looking back on it, like the famous Tarantino quote we know now, the "reject your hypothesis," that came at Cannes because some like woman journalist was like, "Why doesn't Sharon Tate talk a lot in this movie?" And it's like, she's in like half the scene. Like,
I don't think I've ever.
What are you talking about?
I honestly haven't ever heard Sharon Tate talk. I just haven't. Like I haven't seen any movies she's been in. Like I didn't watch the Vampire Killers for this thing, or you know, I didn't watch that. I'm just like, that's not important at all. I thought she does talk.
But she does talk.
When she's pregnant and she has is it Michelle Phillips, or I can't remember what her name is. She comes over. And they do talk, so it's not even and when she's like dancing in the house, she's talking to Jay Sebring when they're scouting out the house. Like she does talk. Like, it was that, but 2019 was Bechdel test. Like,
and like the journalist asked the question, Tarantino's like, well, I just reject your whole hypothesis.
Because
the whole room goes silent.
He's too autistic to be woke.
He
is. Like, you just can't. I'm sorry. Like, he loves cinema too much. Like, he won't allow it. Like, and I'm sorry, you can't cancel him. This is a guy that they tried to cancel him for Django. They tried to cancel him for all these movies. Like, it's not his first rodeo.
Defending Roman Polanski.
And again, he's very nice to Polanski in this movie.
You could almost view it like him wanting to like save Roman from what he did.
If I was Roman Polanski, I'd love this movie. Either I want no one to ever talk about it again, which I'm sorry, everyone is. It's one of the biggest moments of the 1900s. Like, you can't do that. Like, you can't not talk about it. So he knows it's going to get talked about. But he said he got the script. I think Tarantino sent him the script, and he was just like, "This is interesting. Like, like I see what you're doing." I love Leonardo DiCaprio's like refusal to like do spaghetti westerns at the beginning. Objectively what he needed to be doing. To trust me, you will have a set. And which you get the idea that he lost out to like Clint Eastwood, because it's all about him losing out to Steve McQueen for The Great Escape. Like, at the beginning, that's like one of his biggest things. But meanwhile, you realize, and he does eventually do the spaghetti westerns, but you realize like that first wave, like the Sergio Leone ones, like he probably could have been in those. He
has to go with like the Corbucci Martino,
which
ones.
not bad. Like, but it's work. But he still doesn't have enough money to pay Brad Pitt, his stuntman, the stuntman who actually loves film. Actually has the love for the game, isn't just this like frustrated working actor, even though he has all the more ability or all the more right to complain about his situation. He lives in a fucking trailer behind a drive-in, which again, not the worst setup. Place is gross, but it's not as gross as
I could make it work.
The dog's great, and it's the Manson. I love the Manson property scene. Brad Pitt is unreal. The Bruce Lee scene's great. That after reading the Roman Polanski biography, it's so cool that he has the Bruce Lee thing in there. I wouldn't be surprised if Quentin, I mean, I'm sure he's read this Roman by Polanski before, but if he reread it before, in preparation for this, because there's a lot of stuff directly out of this.
There was the whole thing with Bruce Lee where like his like estate, his like ex-wife or something, like came out and was like, why did you portray Bruce Lee like,
because that's what he was,
or whatever, because like
that's what he was. That's what he was. Yeah. Sorry, the movies aren't real, doll. Yeah. So it's just sorry. Like, I mean, tough life. Hey, honestly, tough life. Your son dies fucking on the set of The Crow. Bruce Lee dies, very, very young. Like, I get it. I'm very sad, but it's just like that's what he was. Like, if you read anything about Bruce Lee, he was a showman. Obviously, he could kick my ass, but I just mean they asked him about like, could you beat Muhammad Ali? And it's just like, there's that great scene. And by the way, Brad Pitt fucking rules. One of the best. If you look at for a very famous actor, his IMDb is incredible. Like, it's just like great choice after great choice after great choice. Yeah. And if you hear him interviewed, he's completely a blank canvas, which is why everybody likes him. Mm-hmm. I don't know what Brad Pitt believes in. Like, I think there's always these things like he funds like these like woke movies. He just has a bunch of adopted black daughters that tell him to do that. Like, I literally don't think like he thinks about that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so but it comes out. I just rewatched Seven recently. God, what a good movie. I just rewatched that. Holds up wonderfully. And he's really good. There always used to be this thing that he wasn't that good, that he was just all looks. No, he looks really cool and is great. And he's just an awesome guy. And that scene with Bruce Lee is unreal, because again, like, if I'm a sports guy, I always thought that growing up. I'm like, yeah, but Muhammad Ali could kick Bruce Lee's ass. He's 6'4", like 235, and Bruce Lee's tiny. If he lands one punch, it's over for Bruce Lee. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And everyone's like, no, Bruce Lee knows the thing where you hit the heart and the heart explodes. Like, no, he doesn't. Get the fuck out of here. Like maybe he does, but Muhammad Ali's also the quickest fucking boxer, like, for his size ever. Like, so it's like he probably wouldn't land that, And so I've always thought that. And Tarantino's so good at being like a kid with like two trucks. Like, what if this truck hit this truck? Like, he's really good at that. Like the thing you've always thought about as a kid. Like, could this guy kick this guy's ass? And so he went when Brad Pitt says that, and then Bruce Lee does that horribly cringe line, which he actually did say, was the my fists have to be registered as lethal weapons, or that like stuff. He's like, if you hit me and kill me, you're going to jail. It happens to anybody that hits and kills somebody. He's like, that's fucking stupid. Which, like, you can hear Tarantino. That is Tarantino at his finest. Which sometimes gets annoying in some movies where it's like, where you start like, you said this, comma this, which that means you're implying, when it's usually Samuel L. Jackson doing it. Like, sometimes that can get a little grating, which is why Jackie Brown isn't as good as people say it is. But this movie, I had no qualms, like, or anything bad to say about it at all. Like, it was so good. And I think we graduated in Roman Polanski, and that's why it's even better, And this came out at the same time as The Irishman, which sucks.
Yeah, never seen it. I'm not a big Scorsese fan. So.
His good
stuff is good.
His good stuff is untouchable. Like Goodfellas is still close to my favorite movie of all time. Like, it's just a pure, beautiful cinema.
Taxi Driver is top for me.
You can't beat Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
Streets is fantastic. You know what he's really good at that I wish he would do instead of fucking Killers of the Flower Moon and then Jesus with women, or I don't know what he's trying to do right now with like crime and our Jesus. His daughter is running his brain right now, like Plankton, fucking like, I'm gonna do a woman movie. Like, it's exactly
right.
When you watch Scorsese on social media, you're just like, I've never seen oh my god. It's the most Reddit letterboxed thing you'll ever see.
It's horrid.
It's horrid. So, but what Scorsese needs to be doing is music documentaries. He makes the best music documentaries I've ever seen. He did the last waltz in the 70s of the band, which is could be the best concert performance ever, mixed with some great cutscenes. And because he was friends with Robbie Robertson at the time, and was for a long time. And then he did a George Harrison biography, which is or George Harrison documentary, 3 hours long on HBO. It's still on Max right now. Unreal. And I think he's done a few Stones ones that I haven't seen, but I bet those are good too. And I'm like, can you just do that? Like, can you just find a boomer band and just fucking cover them before they die, and then everyone will be happy. Everyone will be happy. Everyone will think it's good. You'll probably win an Oscar for a documentary or best soundtrack or anything like that. Killers of Flower Moon, I didn't see.
You don't have to pretend to care about like Native Americans.
Yeah, Osage County. I don't give a shit. Like, and it's not even that. It's like you could get me to care about that. I just know I won't with that movie. I know that's a poor attempt at it. Like, so and I know that it was propped up. I know people liked it because they had to. You know, it was just like it was just annoying. So with Scorsese, he needs to do that or just retire because I'm an Aviator fan. I love that and that's worth a watch because Cy and I are going to cover Howard Hughes this summer. And I'm going to rewatch it. I loved it when it came out. And you know, what did I just say? I don't even like Leonardo DiCaprio that much, but that and Catch Me If You Can around the same time, he was untouchable right there. And I think that like I said, The Irishman came out and it's like, it's got all the things that I should like in a movie, but I was like, this is just straight up dinosaur, like Expendables mob movie, like literally the Expendables for mob movies. And it's so bad. And it's just Jimmy Hoffa bullshit. Like I was just like, who gives a fuck? Like no one cares about that. And that's not what unions are nowadays anyways. So it's like, so not even like,
I still don't even know what Jimmy Hoffa even is.
Jimmy Hoffa was the
union organizer or something.
He was the head of the Teamsters union, basically. So he was the head of the Teamsters union, mob connected. No one knows where his body is. So what I mean is he made Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for a dead union rep. So like what if we found out what happened, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like what if we did it? However, they took an objectively way cooler story. Tarantino's like, this is way cooler and way more fun to look at, aesthetically beautiful, an awesome time in life, or just an awesome pivotal point, and maybe arguably the most pivotal time in the last 60 years, you know. And what if we did our own revision of that? That is way better. So love this movie.
Amazing.
Love this. Anything else? But I mean, we've done 4.5 hours on Roman Polanski. I think that's wonderful. I feel good. I feel satisfied. I don't feel like I'm leaving anything on the bone. I think I've said everything there is to say.
So
again, if you're a weird scenes in the canyon head and you think I don't know, I'm gonna do a thing on that, guys. So don't fucking Glenn, you fucking like fucking all these like you forgot about the connections between the military and I read it. I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about it. So it's
made me want to like dive into some of the Manson stuff.
Let's do Chaos sometime. Let's do Chaos sometime. I'd really like to do that, but because that's the one I
even Helter Skelter I'm kind of interested in.
So what I've heard about Chaos, and I could be wrong here, this I would take I would allow somebody to tell me the difference between the two here. I've heard Chaos basically takes Helter Skelter with like new information, and
that's what I've heard too.
So because I heard the guy author go on Rogan and he was really good. Tom O'Neill, I think his name is. This was a long time ago when the book came out, but we should do that sometime. I think I'll just get an audiobook of it. I think that those are easy. We should do that. I think that would be a very good follow-up companion piece to this. So that way you don't leave any meat on the bone with that stuff. There's people who start entire podcasts about Charles Manson, entire podcasts about like the canyon and stuff. We don't have time for that stuff.
I've never been like a true crime guy, but there's like maybe 5 true crimes that I'm interested in, and Manson's one of them.
It's like for me, it's like Manson, OJ, and like a couple others. But to be honest,
like Manson, Zodiac's
pretty sick. Zodiac is pretty sick.
Because I love the Fincher movie, really.
Yes, it's a damn good.
It's my favorite Fincher movie.
That's another one I had a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood renaissance with. I was shout out to my guy Granite Mountain Movie Club. He invited me on for that because I was like, I liked it when it came out. It was good. I was like, I liked it. I remember
love it,
and then I rewatched. I was like, this is so good. I was like, God, this is good. I like it was like I get it now. I was like, everyone cries about San Francisco and CGI. I'm like, it looks great.
It looks amazing.
It looks fantastic. You could have
told the best CGI since like Revenge of the Sith. Like it's
the best
great.
CGI since Pirates of the Caribbean, Lovecraft, fucking squid playing the organ. Those are the 2 greatest uses of CGI ever, and they were 20 years ago.
I'd throw in the opening of Revenge of the Sith of showing the battle over.
Of course you would. And if Cy was here, he would agree with you. I don't hate those movies. I have Bret Easton Ellis brain, except I like it more than Bret Easton Ellis does. But I watched every Star Wars, and I was just like, that was good. And then I'm like, but I don't. There's just nothing more for me to say.
My dad has a funny take about it. I tried to tell him one day like what The Mandalorian was about when it was coming out, and I was getting kind of sick of it. So I just described what it was, and he just like gives me this exasperated side. He's like, "Oh, I got to tell you something. It's been 25 years. I hate Star Wars."
Yeah,
I just got to tell you now.
yeah. See, I don't get that because like I don't see how you can hate Star Wars like that.
Well, he was like, I saw the first one in a drive-in when it came out, and I liked it, and then I was just kind of done with it. And I just don't need more. The originals or whatever 4, 5, and 6 like those to me are great. I was literally the target audience for the prequels. Like I was 10 years old like when they came out, and no, you weren't 10 years old. Well, not 10.
You're younger than me. You're way younger than me. Yeah, you're like 10.
I was the target audience. What I mean.
Yeah. No, like when they came out, like literally, like it was like. It's for you. And I watched them and they were great. They were wonderful theatrical experiences. I don't think my mom liked them because she was old guard, 70s. I don't think she liked them, but I was like, no, that was sick. Fucking Darth Maul with the damn, that's sick. And I really liked the third prequel. I like that one the most. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that was my favorite one. That's cool, right? Because okay, good. Because
that's the one.
I literally 2 years into this podcast, I found out Sai was a fucking Star Wars fan. I didn't know. He's like super into it.
That makes sense. Like I'm surprised Rare Candy's not more Star Wars filled. It's like dive into Star Wars lore is very Rare Candy.
Yeah, no, I know. He loved. He was like talking about it to like this like in this like scholarly way. I was like, dude, like I've known him since we were fucking 13 years old, and I'm like, this has never come up once. The guy is an enigma, man. But he's my enigma. With spelled like in a different way. But
never mind. I was about to say it. I better not.
Yeah, maybe not. We've already violated quite a few rules. But so guys, thank you. That was wonderful. Cody, thank you for doing that. This was a lot. You watched like 9 movies plus.
Thanks for having me, man. It was cool to be like a solo guest on Rare Candy for once.
True. Good point. It's usually you're here in group fashion. That is true. You are here solo, and it was a 4-hour one. Matt Fresta had to do like 10 paywalled group appearances before being on the free feed once. But and he still wasn't by himself actually on that. But we will get him on. It's just the way it works. But anyways, guys, everyone have a safe week. We'll catch you guys next time.